Hi, everybody. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Testing, testing, one, two, three. I don't have my headsets in. So can you just do a thumbs up real quick if you guys can hear me? The judge will be up shortly. Oh, there you go. That was quick. And then let me make you co-host, Judge. I sent you a co-host request.
Copy and complied.
Okay, good. How are you?
I'll manage.
Your
Had some
man.
problems around here, freezing weather, and had some burst pipes. Yeah, I burst pipe yesterday in an outbuilding connected to whatever, so it was a real mess. But anyway, I think it's under control now.
Yeah. Well, we didn't do a space last week due to unforeseen circumstances, inclement weather. So, apologies to everyone that was looking forward to last week. However, we're back this week and we have a lot to talk about. And what we want to talk about last week, the NAACP, that's old news. Who cares? So, however, today is Tuesday and it is the New Hampshire Republican primary Tuesday voting. Of course, I believe Trump is going to win, but so that's why I put a hashtag vote Trump. And the Oscars were they announced their nominations for the Oscars for 2024. I'm sorry. Can you turn the faucet off or press mute? Press mute, Judge. We hear everything, honey. If you don't press mute. And the
Are you
question,
muted? Can you
I
hear
didn't
me?
mute you. I want you to press mute if you're
I'm
gonna be
saying
like,
I pressed mute. You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Damn. Let me
Yeah, I
try
don't.
this again. Let me try this again.
Okay.
Is that mute?
No,
Is that mute?
no.
Damn. It says muting.
I know, but you're not muting. It don't matter. So, cause you listen. I said an hour ago, go eat, get settled in. But you don't ever listen to me, so it is what it is. But the question, so and then the question, this is a question I was going to ask last week. I left it up. I didn't change it. Are Black people spiritually broken? And this is not just a Black space. This is a space for everybody. So, these are the three main things. However, when you guys come up, if you want to ask the judge a question that may be off, a little bit off topic, that's fine because you're asking him a question. Um, but I do like to stick to the topic, even though a lot of times our conversation will evolve into other things, which is cool. And so yeah, so you guys can request to come up, talk about what we're talking about today, or if you want to bring up something else, that's fine. And as long as you kind of address one of the topics, but yeah. So where do you want to start at, Judge? You want to start at hashtag vote Trump, hashtag Oscars, or the question, are Black people spiritually broken? I forgot why I came up with that question.
I can't read your mind, dear. Not quite yet. The force is not out there today.
But I'm asking you where you want to start.
It doesn't make me any difference.
Oh,
I'm easy.
real quick. And I want to say hello to everybody on YouTube. Judge, say hi to everybody on YouTube.
Yo, this is the judge in the house.
And
Okay, let's do it.
all right. And I am going to put the barbecue sauce information in the Jumbotron as well. Let's start with today, New Hampshire, hashtag vote Trump. Do you think he's going to pull it out?
Yeah, all the rest of that stuff you saw, that was just an audition sequence for vice president.
Yeah, because Ron DeSantis dropped out a couple of days ago. Nikki Haley is trying to use the race card to stay relevant now. She said,
Ray Nikki is not relevant. That's just a sideshow. It's like a freak show. Anyway, It is what it is. I suppose with Kamala in there, you got Nikki in there as an offset, but it ain't real.
Um,
So let's await the outcome.
and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's on the ballot in New Hampshire, right? Biden is off the ballot. Biden is not on a New Hampshire ballot. And then now there's a lot of rumbles that Michelle Obama may enter the race. To the DNC, the Democrats are not going to win, but Michelle Obama may enter the race so that they won't look like a complete fool. I think she is, because that's the only one trick pony they have right now. And my conspiracy theory, my own personal opinion, Biden eventually is going to step down from being president. Maybe he's trying to hold on as long as possible to pardon his son, but he's going to step down. Kamala Harris is going to be sworn in, and she's going to be happy that she was president for 3 months. Michelle Obama is going to end up running. I believe Trump is going to pick Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be his running mate. That's rumbles now going around in media, but it makes sense. I would say either Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or Ron DeSantis, not Vivek, not Haley. They'll probably get cabin seats. Who knows? But I think the number one thing when Trump is elected president, he needs to do a massive deportation,
You
because
might be
Supreme Court.
right with you might.
Okay, now I can't hear.
I can't hear. Are you talking? I can't really hear you.
Yeah, you were going in and out. Can you hear me now?
Are you talking?
Yes.
I can hear you. Okay.
Yeah, you went in and out.
My opinion on that is, what makes Michelle Obama qualified other than technically to run for president? She has not run a large business. She has not been a law professor or a judge anywhere. She hasn't held political office before. She's not demonstrated an ability to exercise command authority. So what makes you qualified for an office because you have been screwing an office holder, which basically is what it amounts to. That isn't a qualification. Now, next thing, Robert Kennedy, nominally an independent, is in this audition process too. Frankly, from my estimation of the situation, Kamala Harris would be a disaster. Her ratings are essentially the lowest out of president or vice president in the 70-some years they've been doing this. Hers are even lower than Vice President Spiro Agnew, who wound up actually going to a federal and state penitentiary, who was Tricky Dick Nixon's vice president, had better ratings than her after he got convicted. So that's pretty bad. He's probably the Democrats' best chance, since they locked themselves into this mess, is to try and get Biden in, because there are a number of people who would vote for him as a vote against Trump, that they might have a chance. Might. I don't think they have much of a chance, because the last election was a cheat. I don't care what anybody says. And by the way, you might, if you're out there listening, check out what's going on with the voting machines in federal court, where they've got somebody who has demonstrated, without machines, without tools, without any device, just off of manipulate the machine itself, how to hack a whole system. He's been doing it repeatedly in court. It's quite amazing, and it's what goes in. Like, press the button 5 times and hold it and wait for the screen to come up, and then this is how you manipulate the screen to control the whole process. But anyway, that's another story. So they'd probably do better if they could get Biden in, and then he retired for medical reasons, and that might get Cum Queen in for a little bit. but not long before she creates a complete disaster. So we've got to get Biden out of there before they do any more damage to manhood, womanhood, childhood, the family, decency, morality, ethics, principle, purpose, dedication, obligation, courage, and bravery, which are going by the wayside with what they're doing now. So it ought to be fascinating to watch. So I'll just leave it there and just wait a few hours. And what does Yoda tell Luke in Star Wars? Patience is no, that's Obi-Wan. Patience is a great virtue. Let's be patient and see what happens. But that's my prediction. Anyway, Trump will win, and we will see.
All right, and you want to mention anything with the hashtag Oscars? The Oscars were the nominations were released today. Color Purple did not get nominated except for supporting actress Danielle Brooks, who played Sophia. Oppenheimer, Killer Moon, Flower Moon. I got to see that movie. Even Barbie had a lot of nominations, like with costume and stuff like that. So, yeah, any comments you want to say about the Oscars? Because they're that's politics, that's political.
Yeah,
And then
it is. I worked for that industry for 15 years. It was the most racist experience I've had in my 76 years of life. It's bullshit. It's all fantasy. They have an agenda where they use their fantasies to corrupt your mind. So I don't really pay attention to that bullshit. I think this primary is much more interesting since it will impact whether or not you can upgrade your house, get a loan, start a business, get your first house, be safe in your streets, or not get stuck into another internecine war, when all they're doing with this is distracting you. Color Purple, the original, was anti-man bullshit, written by a man-hating babe who had issues. And I hate and detest and despise musicals, so that they made a musical edition of bullshit just makes it a sewer to me. Oppenheimer was the man that was in charge of the Manhattan Project. They are the guys that made the atomic bomb, so that's not so bad. The other one, I don't give a damn. Ain't enough shoot 'em up, excitement, and all of that. And if I want to say something, I know it will not get a nomination. But you have one out there right now. Go see Beekeeper with Statham. You'll enjoy it. See Beekeeper. Now, that's my diversion into the distraction of entertainment.
Okay. A couple more things, then I'm gonna get to Sir Major. Anybody else want to request to come up, please do so. And I have a question from YouTube. Before I ask you the question, are Black people spiritually broken? I got on the phone with you today and said that the Supreme Court overruled or dismissed the Fifth Circuit decision to temporarily uphold Texas wanting to keep the wire fence in the Eagle Pass at the border in Texas. Supreme Court knocked that down, and they will have oral arguments on February the 7th. So the Federal Patrol, Border Patrol agents are allowed to go down to Eagle Pass and cut the wires. But Texas National Border Patrol said, we're going to shut down the border and we're going to keep these goddamn wires up. We don't care what the Supreme Court said. So a lot of people are upset that the Supreme Court allowed, basically sided with the Biden administration because it was their U.S. solicitor that was pleading a case on why the federal agents, border agents, should be able to cut the wire because it gives them a quicker time period to go save the people drowning in the Rio Grande crossing the river into the United States illegally. It was a mother, her 2 children drowned. Mexico borders, they agents, they have rescued some people as well. It's just a mess. So basically, the Biden administration has won to have open borders technically.
Biden administration didn't win shit. What
Okay.
happened legally is the Supreme Court said, what the hell do you want us to do with this? Give us something to do something with. We are not in the business of trying cases. We rule on evidence, law, constitutional matters, and stuff like that. So do something. I expected them to do that. All they did was say the Fifth Circuit improperly issued an injunction against the federal government. Let's see what happens when the Fifth Circuit resolves the matters that are required to be resolved before it is appropriate to issue an injunction, because they did not show an emergency status, plus there's the humanitarian consideration. Now, this pass is inside of Texas. The Texas law enforcement officers took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States as well as the laws of the state of Texas. When you have a situation where a state border is contiguous with the border for the national government or for the nation, the title of the nation is the United States of America. The sovereign states of America that are united in a sovereign union. And that's what you have. We fought a civil war to establish that. So the federal government has precedence under the Constitution when it comes to controlling international borders. Now, all Texas has to do is back off a few miles from that border. Other end of that pass, they do what they want to do. And what winds up happening is, as long as they move the point, they're not violating anything. The court basically dissolved an injunction against the federal government. That is not an injunction against the state of Texas. So in other words, ain't nothing happened. And then there's a whole lot of spin by folk that didn't sit through con law in the first year of law school with the intent of understanding con law as it applied to citizens' rights and government. They merely went through it because they had to stay in law school, and they were interested in making money. Typical these days. So ain't nothing happening. It's just premature.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna ask you a question. Are Black people spiritually broken? I want to say something real quick. I'm gonna have you speak on that. Then I'm gonna go to Sir Major. I have a question from YouTube, and people on YouTube, if you have a question, just put question and type it. Put a Q and your question, and or you can send in super chat. Doesn't matter. Also in the Jumbotron, guys, Judge Joe Brown link to his barbecue sauce, jjbbbq.com. It's delicious. Go check it out. And if you want to request to come up and ask the judge anything or speak on the topics, please do so. And I want to say this real quick. So the question is, are Black people spiritually broken, right? That was for last week, and I just kept it up. This is not just a Black space, but this is a Black question. But all people could answer this, right? For good conversation. However, I want to say this. I want to give acknowledgement to Mr. Mark Carter, because he was on my platform twice last week with the judge and with me on Wednesday. Great man, and he's doing the work in Chicago, and he's been doing the work for decades. He is a business owner, homeowner, father, husband, and he is going hard, pushing back against the illegal migrants are in Chicago. And he was on a space earlier today. Very disrespectful space, very toxic space, very ignorant space. And someone like Mark Carter, and I don't know if I did send him this space or whatever, but I'll speak to him and tell him this personally. He's too important and too good to just be going on random spaces. So, so when I asked the question, are Black people spiritually broken? Part of that, what I heard in that space was a lot of broken Black people. And I'm when we're on Twitter, it's one thing to where, yeah, sometimes the discussion gets heated, but be productive and talk like you have some sense, especially when you have someone like Judge Joe Brown, Mark Carter, people who have been doing the work in their community for decades. You respect these people, whether you agree with them or not. So I just want to lay that out there. And I want to go to Sir Major. No, I'm sorry, Judge. Judge, you want to answer the question, then Sir Major.
Are Black people spiritually broken? Question is, have they ever been spiritually made? I would submit they have not, because Black culture in the United States basically is a response to the prevalent general culture, not an expression of their own. If you call showing folk how to dance, sing, and be distracted and have a good time, okay, if you call that culture. But culture is something more fundamental, because a culture produces a series of artistic things. The art has a message, and the message is about the betterment of the people who produce the art. And our art, for the most part, since we've been here, has been acquiescence, representation of acquiescence in a second class or subservient status. It is not good. It is not a culture that says it will fight. It is a reflection of the American culture. And to start with, at the very bottom upon which everything is built, we do not know who our ancestral Godheads are to have a fundamental culture that we can build on. If you go to the movies and watch Marvel comic stuff, you see Thor, a Norse god whose dad, played by Anthony Hopkins, is Odin. And you see that. You have a thing where with Dell, Wonder Woman fights the Greek edition of Mars, Ares. You have Trident missiles named after Poseidon's trident, his weapon. You have Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. Does anybody Black know who Damballa, a Cotier, and a Goonbi are? They're primarily the three chief ancestral gods for most of West Africa. The Africans don't even know that now. They default into Jesus and Allah. And now you have some that claim they want to be behind Abraham. So, where is our culture? You can't have one if it's on a cloud rather than firmly rooted on a firm foundation. So I would just say, what are we losing that we never had? Okay. I'll pass the mic.
All right. I'm gonna go to Sir Major, then a YouTube question, then Brooklyn Millennial and Tyson. And like I said, anybody want to request to come up, please do so. Go ahead, Sir Major.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, Judge. Good evening.
All right.
I come with my own lights and cameras and bells and whistles. No, I'm joking. Listen, it's a pleasure to speak to you and Dana. My question is this: I had recently, I don't know what rank. I think he was a lieutenant or somehow he was an investigator with the HSI and Border Patrol, and I had him in the space. I think it was the day before yesterday. And we were talking about, this border crisis out there in Texas. And I want to first start off by saying that I'm completely uh, on the side of the opinion that Joe Biden needs to be in prison for treason. What Joe Biden is doing right now to this country is no different than what January 6th did. The folks that stormed the Capitol. Um, what he's doing right now in this moment, he's actively doing everything in his power to undermine the integrity of this nation. He's undermining the state of Texas and all of the proactive measures that Governor Abbott's taking. But with this Supreme Court decision, what would happen if Governor Abbott says, "The hell with Joe Biden. We're not doing anything different. We're going to continue to stand the line, stay the course, and man the front line," which they are doing. Just a few hours ago, there was a video that came out where Texan DPS and their National Guards put even more razor wire out instead of having that stuff cut. So what happens if Governor Abbott says, "The hell with Joe Biden. We're going to continue to do what we want to do, and that's protect the American lives, but also the state of Texas"?
Judge, you want to answer that?
Okay, they have to take the state of Texas to court. Nothing's been said about it. The Supreme Court hasn't ruled on whether what the state of Texas did was illegal. They simply ruled that the Fifth Circuit was out of order by enjoining the federal government from removing the wire. So, what's up? What's going on? That's how things started. Remember Fort Sumter, 1861? Now, here's the other thing, too. A legal approach I thought about: the states are entitled to preserve order within their borders. So you've got illegals who have demonstrated that they are disrespecting the law because they invaded not only the United States, but the state of Texas. There is no security to determine whether or not they are infected with some nasty disease. They're sex offenders, they're drug dealers, they're wanted people, they're international terrorists, agents of somebody else, and whether or not there is a threat to the security of the state of Texas. It's like traffic control. When there's heavy traffic at an event, cops stand out there, and even though the light may say red, they're telling you to go because they're directing traffic. That's called traffic control. So, what they're trying to do essentially is traffic control, dealing with who's coming through the state and what kind of situation. And that's what they're entitled to do. So, they are supposed to be upholding the Constitution. And some jackass up in the Oval Office that's a piece of urban trailer park trash that's been getting rich as a multimillionaire, and all he's been paid for his whole damn life is, guess what? A civil service salary. And by the way, for comparison, Mark, the special prosecutor down there with Miss Fanny in Georgia, got paid $650,000 so far by the state of Georgia for one case, and has been billing the hell out of them so he and Fanny can take their little love fest trips, while the special prosecutor's wife is publishing all the information because she's getting it as part of divorce discovery, and somebody forgot to get the credit card address changed. So Fanny is hollering about her boyfriend's wife is trying to derail the Trump investigation by subpoenaing her to testify in the divorce proceedings, which is farcical. But we find out, to give you perspective, That man makes more, almost twice what the Attorney General of the United States makes for defending the whole damn country for just one case, trying to get an ex-president who didn't make as much in a year for being president of the United States as this person has gotten for one case. So my point with it is, it's a matter of perspective and what you're getting and who's doing what. So somebody needs to pay attention to this, and somebody needs to think about the intent of the Bill of Rights, which essentially is to prevent the U.S. government from using its power for purposes of political oppression. So I'll move on with that. I'll pass to Mike.
Mika on YouTube says, what is the judge's opinion on Michelle Obama referencing to women as women, like WOMXN, in a tweet she authored about abortion rights? She used that phrase to be inclusive. I got to pull that up. Judge, that's a question for you.
Even if I disagree with what you say, I will staunchly defend your right to say it under the First Amendment. That's her statement. And again, it goes to, why do we give a goddamn? She's been fucking. That's her job, is the wife of an incompetent charlatan who has been president, who has been a trickster raised by a master spy and mass murderer, according to allegations that came out 50 years ago against him, who is related to, as blood kin, to 2 U.S. presidents, one of whom's now dead, and a U.S. vice president still alive. And they have been conspiring to put their family fortune in business ahead of the business of the people of this country. And that's what we've got. Mm-hmm. So they own them a flunky who is a piece of broke urban park trailer trash, who made it good from connections he's had over the years, selling the interest of the people out. So that's what we've got in place now. And why the hell, because she's got a marital connection with that bunch, does she find herself being worthy of anybody's attention? Now, I'll pass to Mike.
Brooklyn, then Millennial, then Tyson, then Ricky. Go ahead, Brooklyn.
Hey, Shalom. Peace to the chat. That third question that's up there, that third topic is such a heavy thing that we need to speak about, because clearly Black people are spiritually broken. If that wasn't the case, we wouldn't be in the state that we're in today. And what the judge was starting to say was so heavy. All of the many, many philosophies that we have that have been pushed on us, they're all responses in one way or another. They're all responses to what the white man wants. Black version of Christianity is just a more subjugated version of their Christianity. Everything, every philosophy that's in our community either does nothing to advance us as a people or actively holds us down. Now, we're the Israelites. Y'all know what we're about. We believe the Blacks are the real Jews. There's a whole set of archaeology that we could go into, history that we could go into. But to the point right now, what it does is it gives us a culture, a full, complete culture that heals every issue in the Black community. And our laws are not like laws that we're used to, where it just tells you what you can't do to someone. Our laws tell you what you must do for someone. It gives us a sense of responsibility to our people, to each other, to our community. And that's the type of spirituality that can heal Black people. But as for everything else that's out there, I don't see where it's going to go, what it's going to do for our people. And I would love to hear the judge continue his take on that. I'm going to mute up.
Judge, somebody want to respond?
He wanted you to respond. He wanted your take on what he said.
But before I say anything, I'm sure there's somebody else that might want to add to that. So let's add
I,
to that.
I
Or
would I would like to add to that because the Ark of the Covenant, uh, uh, as far as we know, and what history tells us, the Ark of the Covenant is in Ethiopia. That's what Ethiopians say they have it. And a lot of people actually believe that the Christian religion and even the Jewish religion was stolen from Africa and then painted white.
Okay. Well, um, Millennial was next, so I don't know if he wanted to
I can
mention it. But go
respond to
ahead,
that real
Brooklyn.
quick.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as for the Ark of the Covenant, that's not the Ark of the Covenant that they have in Ethiopia, but that's a little bit off topic. Um,
I'm sorry. Shit. Somebody requested to come up and then they dropped down. I hit mute by accident. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Go ahead, Brooklyn.
Oh, it's all good. I was just saying that the Ethiopians do not have the Ark of the Covenant, but that's a little off topic. But more to the point, everything that we see today has absolutely been whitewashed, and it affects us in every way. It affects us in a deep psychological way, and that's part of everything else I said. I'm gonna mute up now.
I want to go to Millennial.
Okay, thank you, Dana. Um, so as far as answering the question, are Black people spiritually broken? I won't say that we're necessarily spiritually broken, more in a sense of we don't have a clear sense of direction. And I'm glad the last speaker brought up the religious aspect of where they feel like we're from and who we are as a people, because that's one thing that divides us, and it goes to why I think we're more in a place of lacking a sense of direction versus being spiritually broken. Because when there's an event that goes on in society or in this country that we can all get behind, we know how to get on code with each other, so to speak. Let's just use the George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, all of that stuff. When that occurred, there wasn't really many Black people as a whole going against what we clearly saw happen in our faces. But as far as a lot of the things that we are presented with, and it goes back to that religious aspect that they were speaking on, I think that's one thing that, you know, divides us and keeps us from working together as a collective. So when you have us being pulled and tugged so many different directions, that works in the favor of the dominant structure to keep us broken to a point to where we aren't able to see the forest for the trees, so to speak. And I actually wanted to give more of a more modern example of that. I see you had hashtag on here, vote Trump. Um, in modern times, one of the things that I've noticed through looking at all of the policies and things that previous presidents have presented to people as a whole, one thing that I did notice is when we talk about as a whole, we as Black people, we're looking for a candidate to offer us tangibles. And I agree with that. To earn our vote, there should be something that should be offered to us as a group if you want our vote, because we see examples of that occurring with other groups. And the only person that I ever saw do that was Donald Trump. And we can go back and look at his First Step program. If you look at, which was also called the Platinum program, if you look at and actually read it, everything that he mentioned and he laid out was Black specific. It was not a lift all, it was not people of color. It literally said Black, 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 Black. But see, it goes back to what I said in the beginning, where because we're being tugged and pulled by outside forces, you never heard about Black folks calling Trump a racist until the Democrats start telling you he was racist. Even if we go back to the whole Central Park 5 situation, let's be real. Most people were disconnected and didn't even know about that until the Democrats brought it to our attention that had occurred. Now, it did occur, but at the same time, if you look at the historical timeline of when that was going on, you also know that he was also making a lot of appearances in Black spaces such as Fresh Prince. He was on there making appearances there, but he was in a lot of urban spaces as well. So again, Black folks really didn't have a big problem with Trump up until the Democratic plantation told us, no, Trump is the bad guy. Because you can look through history, through rappers and everything that we follow as a culture. And for the most part, Black people have always been in step with, at least the image of Donald Trump, because he represents success and power. And that's something that we lack in this country. And that's something that we want to achieve. So I wouldn't say that we're spiritually broken. There's just a lot of things that's pulling us left and right that keeps us from getting on one accord and working together. And I'll land my plane.
All right.
Let me say this. Let me say this. Since we've got on this subject of spirituality, I was leading it someplace. The problem with us is we're staunchly behind the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party is attempting to impose a religion on us. The government and several states is imposing this religion on us profusely. It's imposing it on us. The states that are trying to be sanctuary states and the locations that are trying to encourage the border invasion, they're trying to impose this religion on us. Now, what is the religion? Now that we've lost the concepts of duty, honor, obligation, accountability, responsibility, dedication, courage, bravery, morality, ethics, and sense of purpose, which are inherent in any legitimate religion, there is another one that's like a pulpit pimp who says, if you pay me so I can pray for you, and you believe you'll get to heaven, it doesn't make any difference what you do. You don't need any standards. You can be a pimp, hoe, drug dealer, murderer, thief, etc., etc. Now, I'm not dishonoring this ancient and honorable religion known as Buddhism. But if you examine Buddhism or you're familiar with it, you are aware of the fact that it does not have a God, no central deity. It's a system of philosophy. And in this country, right now, in the 21st century, we've seen some zealots and acolytes insinuate themselves into control of the communications media, in control of the news industry, in control of the entertainment industry, and now insinuated into both political parties where they deliberately create chaos so they can operate behind the scenes. What is that religion? Well, the religion has a lot of alphabet designators. I'll say this before I get into explaining that. I'm not talking about gay folk. Get your freak on in your damn bedrooms all you want. What I'm talking about is a coalition, a cult that is in the process of being deep into a crusade to impose their sick philosophy of negation, of self hate, of abandoning responsibility, of abandoning guilt and shame, which are the control factors over human conduct. And they are imposing a rainbow coalition. You can't have a nativity scene and a city hall or a courthouse or a government building. You can't fly the crescent and the star under the American flag. You can't have the six-pointed Jewish star under the American flag. You can't have the six-armed representation of the Hindu religious pantheon under the flag, and you can't have Buddha either. But you can have a rainbow. You might want to take your children to church, temple, or synagogue or mosque on your holy days, so by the time they are in elementary school, they are believers. But you've got something going on where 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up through 17, 18-year-olds are compelled to go through the same kind of indoctrination for the new religion 5 days a week, 6 hours a day. It's all in the classroom. Nobody teaches rational, logical, and reasonable thought and analysis. Nobody teaches facts. They teach dogma. And that's what the children are getting to convert them to this new religion. And nobody is paying attention because, like Buddhism, but unlike Buddhism that's been around for a long time, they have no God. And people say we can't have God in schools, and other people are saying we need to put it back. But right now you can't under the law. But meanwhile, we're turning our backs, and we've got some clowns in the White House who want to do what? They want to open those borders so those people can be counted and chaos can reign. And when they're counted, California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, some other places get extra representation in Congress. They want to turn DC into a state instead of taking a small, medium-sized town and turning it back to Maryland and keeping the Capitol Mall as the district. They want the same number of senators for this small, medium-sized town that California has, the same number of representatives in the House that Maine has, so they can push their religious agenda, the rainbow agenda. And not only are Black people spiritually dead, distracted, and everything else for the most part now, because we don't have a firm foundation that goes way back. We have a problem because we are so sympathetic toward those essentially Black women who've allowed themselves to be the primary acolytes and disciples for the rainbow religion, the new cult. And by the way, I'll say this again, just because somebody's gay does not mean they support LGBTQIA+, etc. No more than if you were a Christian, that meant you supported Reverend Jim Jones serving a lot of Kool-Aid at a large church picnic in Guyana. Or if you're Islamic, it doesn't mean you support Al-Qaeda or ISIS. Or if you're Hebrew, it doesn't mean you support the slaughter of women and children in Gaza. Now, see, we're being sold a bill of goods and we're not paying attention. And we are not dealing with the fact that there is something to unify this whole damn country. White, black, brown, red, yellow. Don't care what you are. Don't care what your political persuasion is. If you're normal, you don't like the destruction of mankind, womankind, and child. Manhood, womanhood, childhood. Men have a duty and an honor to protect womanhood and childhood and promote manhood. But we've got something that wants to destroy that because that stands for principle. And what they're doing is so far off key when it comes to the principles that every viable religion has ever set up, that they have to destroy those principles first. And since they are crusaders, they don't give a damn about the consequences. Everybody can literally or figuratively go to hell behind what they do. So we have more in common with everybody else who understands family, understands manhood, womanhood, childhood, than we have against them. And Black folk have the opportunity to take the lead in setting up a new culture based on firm principle, duty, honor, obligation, responsibility, accountability, ethics, morality, purpose, and cause, bravery, and courage. I'll pass the mic.
Before I go to Tyson, Ricky, and then Taurine, to everything you just said, I agree with you, which goes back to Mika's question. Well, what was in her question when Michelle Obama tweeted WOMXN to be inclusive. When you talk about dogma, when you talk about eliminating religion and spirituality out of the schools, out of our society, because they try to mask it with being inclusive, but it's really trying to recreate the natural order of society and life. So, all right, I want to go to Tyson.
Look, Michelle Obama is a damn liar. And the rest of them are. They are not trying to take this out of school. They're trying to put a new religion in
Well, yeah,
school.
that's what I mean. A new religion
Yeah.
replacing, that's what I'm saying, to eliminate, religion, even though religion really wasn't in schools unless you went to a religious schools, but just to eliminate it in schools and society and then replace it with, and they mask it with, oh, let's be inclusive, and it's not being inclusive. You're trying to restructure the natural order of life.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of the things that every religion has had in common with every other religion. I just ran them down.
Right.
And impose pimp preacher, pimp pulpit preacher, pulpit pimp preacher bullshit, which is you don't have to have any standard at all as long as you go along with believing in this core principle.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And every one of these core principles is about regulating, amongst other things, human conduct. So they want no regulation to a human conduct. And they're trying to destroy free speech so we can't discuss it. See, that's another important thing. This country has got a long history of saying if all it's about is prurient interest, you can restrict obscenity. Excuse me. You can restrict obscenity, but you cannot restrict the expression of ideas. Now, obscenity is okay, full frontal, in front of children. You got folk with their dicks hung out on a parade float, little 6, 7-year-old boys and girls getting told to go up there and pull the man's dick. He wants you to do it. That's okay, but you cannot discuss ideas. We know from being on Twitter how bad it was this time last year when you couldn't say anything without them blocking you, suspending you, and you can't go on YouTube without it either. They are destroying the ability to discuss ideas. And this country works on the development of consensus based on absolute free exchange of ideas. So we got a big problem with this religion. They are literally, not literally, but figuratively trying to sit there and burn us at the stake if we become heretics to their particular outlook. That's what they're after Trump for, because he is a prime heretic. They want to get him, but they don't have the balls to come at him with a stake. They want to get it through the law. Now, there you go.
I want to go to Tyson, then Ricky, then Torin, then AI, and I'm bring up Kanye too. Go ahead, Tyson.
Good evening, Miss Dana. Good evening, Your Honor.
Hi.
Yeah,
I was.
Good evening.
I respect both of your opinions a lot. And at the beginning of this year, I was really pushing for Trump. And then I saw all the legal stuff they were coming at him with, and I was like, well, if something does happen with Trump, I need to make sure that we at least have another option up there that's not all for the deep state, not all in with the deep state, because they're trying to push Nikki Haley and they're trying to push, they were trying to push DeSantis, which, they're both Bush and Hillary puppets. And it's just like with the last election, if they know we don't want Biden, they're going to try to slide in whatever they can get in as long as it's someone they can control. So I really started looking into Kennedy, and I actually even volunteered now for the Kennedy campaign. I'm petitioning to get signatures to get him on the ballot. But I really wanted to know what you think and how you feel about Kennedy as somebody I respect. I know you know a lot more inside than I might know.
He might be a very good vice president for the next go round. But right now, we've got people who are passionate about their want for Donald Trump and somebody that a lot of people, most people, I think, are passionately detesting for his general incompetence and criminality. And that's Joe Biden. So while we've got a chance to get this threat to humanity out of the way, we need to do that before it gets too late. They don't need much longer to be in a position where they can control who's on the Supreme Court. And you have only to look at the last appointment, that head scratching, slightly qualified somebody that didn't know what a woman was. And by the way, there are many qualified Black jurists who could have had that appointment and at least knew what a woman was. So that's part of the effort to promote this new religion I'm talking about. That's what she was alluding to when she kept making these references and these allusions. And that was code. I'm one of you. I'm one of your acolytes. And we've got enough of that right now. So one reason to get Trump back in there and let Kennedy be somebody to continue, perhaps, is because we've got to start getting normalcy back in the picture before it's too late.
Judge, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
You don't think it would at least behoove us to make sure he's on the ballot just in case something happens to Trump or with Trump?
Well, I'm saying I think he and the Republicans who've been in these debates have been somewhat auditioning for vice president. I think Kennedy as an independent would be a good thing, because it would be a good example that somebody is switching party, saying, hey, I'm not going to be part of that anymore. I can see that. He can be on a ballot, primary ballot, but I think he needs to be recruited to the cause. Now,
If they manage to get any of these prosecutions to go their way, or even say if they assassinate Trump, who does that leave us with if we don't have somebody else?
The graveyards are full of indispensable people. So that's the reality. People I know drop dead every day. Been seeing it for years. Happens when you get in life. Knew a lot of people died in the Nam and over there in the sand pile and around in the streets. So one monkey don't stop no show. That's the truth of it. But right now, there's an opportunity that we should not throw away, because this is insidious. They're trying to pack these lower courts with fellow acolytes to this new religion. They're trying to get laws in place. They're trying to get DC made statehood. They've already got several million people who have crashed the borders, who have conducted an illegal invasion of this country so they can be counted, so the new cult can get more clout in Congress. Now, that's the reality of it. And we have to stop it before it's too late. So I appreciate Robert Kennedy. Hell, I might help him out in a way myself. But the bottom line is that we need to get behind somebody right now before it is too late. And we need to organize, because we've got a lot of people who are new converts that are contributing to the cause. You've seen this stuff when they televise TD Jakes. Who's going to be a $500 contributor? I want 1,000. And then they line up and they all do it. That's what happens when somebody's worried about the state of their state of mind and where they are karma-wise and stuff. They start giving up a lot of money. And there are a lot of people who don't have the nerve to come out the damn closet. Not a lot, but a few. and they're willing to contribute a lot to this. There are a lot of people that are scared because the old time way says you have to have bravery and courage. You have to make a stand, and a lot of them are just flat out cowards, and they want to run without approbation attaching to them. So they're supporting something that says you can do anything you want. It's okay. It's not okay to do just anything you want. You need to do what you ought to do when you have a moral and ethical compass. Now, I'll pass the mic.
Um,
Hey, what's up, Dana? What's up, Judge?
who is
Good
that?
evening. That's Ricky.
Oh, Ricky. Oh, God.
All right. So DC must never be a state, right? We already have the Northeast and the elites controlling enough of the country. Regarding Texas and Abbott, barbed wire, I don't think that's the way to go, and that is the federal government's job. But we need to bring the troops home and put troops at the border. We can have them unarmed, and we can stop illegal immigration. If you look at what Abbott did, that was very effective, right? Just by him busing them to New York or busing them to Chicago. And DeSantis doing the same thing by busing people to places where we support illegal immigration, but we haven't experienced it the way the South has, right? So now that we've experienced it, you see that the country is changing their position. People who supported it, people like Mayor Adams and Kathy Hochul, now they see, right, this is going to drain up your resources. Poor people are going to have a lot less, right? RFK Jr., that guy's a Zionist. No way, right? And are Black people spiritually broken? I've heard those Twitter spaces that you're talking about, the way we move, the way we talk, and the way our spirit is used for bad. If you want to go to our churches and cover up for your genocide and cover up for your anti-Blackness, we need to stop welcoming that, right? And who are we? What are we? We're a unique group of people. Our spirituality comes from here, and we are the spirit of this country. The music, our civil rights movement is the basis for everything else that everyone else tries to do. And I'll land.
Thank you, Ricky. Taurine. I keep saying Taurine.
Hey, what's up, sis? You know what, man? I'm so used to people butchering my name that I don't even
Taurin.
correct it no more. There you go.
Taurin.
It's all good. First of all, how you doing, Dana?
Good. How are you? You know why I say Taurine? Because I think it should be pronounced Taurine. Isn't that arrogant? Sorry.
Yeah, I know, but it's all good. I correct people. How you doing, Judge? How you doing this evening?
All right, young man.
I want to start with the question in the space. Are Black people spiritually broken? Yes. And I want to ask you, how does that translate to how we move politically? Because I'm in a lot of these spaces. I'm very involved in politics, local politics where I am, and politics in general. I've been able to speak with quite a few presidential candidates and everything, and I've been able to kind of get a gauge on what people's agendas are. And I'm also fairly active in a lot of these conversations about Black politics and about what our agenda should be. And I hear a lot of people who are very well connected to the Democratic Party, not so much the Republican Party, although I do talk to some of them on the occasion. And a lot of times when you hear Black people who are connected to the Democratic establishment speak, a lot of the things they're talking about have absolutely nothing to do with the uplift of Black people, either economically, politically, or definitely not spiritually. It's a lot of this sort of rhetoric that comes down from the DNCC about people of color, and it's basically a rising tide lifts all boats. Like if you ask some people what policies have been put in place for Black people, they give you these catch-alls that basically encompass everybody. But like somebody said a couple of days ago, if you're at 50% and the people who you're trying to get equitable to are at 70%, if you give everybody 20% of everything you're trying to give them, you're going to be at 70%, they're going to be at 90%. So the dynamics don't really shift that much, to the point where, like, I see this a lot, and this is probably going to make some people mad, but I see a lot of some of our sisters who are deep in the bag for Biden and deep in the bag for the Democratic establishment, who will get hostile if you even question Biden, or even if you even question some of the policies that the Democratic Party puts out. I mean, seriously, get offensive and get start attacking you. I've been attacked by some of these people. I've had people call me all kinds of names, and that's fine. I'm a grown man; it don't phase me. But what does that say to when? What does that say about us when people who look like us and are supposed to be our gatekeepers talk about us, talk about other black people who are frustrated with the way the party that claims to be having your back treats you? It doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm saying, how can we move some of these people out of the way and get to a point where people who are really on the ground working 9 to 5, who are not in these echo chambers and who are not in these rooms, can really be heard in our land?
Well, let's put it this way, son. We're either working dogs or pets for the Democratic Party, party of slavery. And the sisters need to be aware of the historical context they're operating in. I was an intern more than 50 years ago for a DC think tank, and one of my assignments was to go over the slave pamphlets on microfilm in the Library of Congress. And from 1706 all up to, I think the last one we checked was the first part of 1861, repeatedly, again and again, slave owners were advised to never go through their favorite gun boy, butler, carriage driver, hang around buddy. Always go through the black women to keep the slaves in line. And that's a historical context, and the political party of the slave masters hasn't forgotten it. And they impose these women who are more off into trying to be about something that they perceive to be the fault of the men in their culture, that they fail to realize that they have atonement to pay for being part of the problem that they're facing now when they continue the process that manufactured the problem. Now, we as black men have a problem because we didn't stand up and fight like we ought to. But they were the primary mechanism of enslavement, because the masters were taught how to entice the slave women to train their children to be slaves. In other words, to domesticate the Negro. And that's what they're doing right now. And they need to back the hell off of that, because they're part of this process. And all they'll do is literally get fucked if they aren't having that happen all the time anyway. So, yeah, we have some things to do.
Why do you think we don't? Why do you think we don't really talk about that dynamic? Because I remember as a kid,
You can't
I used
talk
to hear.
about it. You can't talk about it because there are no men in the house. See, son, when I was growing up, you hung around with dad, your uncles, their homeboys, and you went places with them, and you heard the men talk about the women. Not that bad, but they give you perspective. But now all the boys here is there in beauty salons listening to the women badmouth the men, and they don't get a perspective. And the other problem is this: when I was coming up, if some bully had whipped your ass, beat you across the head, and you didn't do anything, and everybody knew it, you had to hang your head walking down the hallway. It was shameful. Now, when you stood up to the damn bully, even if you got whipped, if you busted him in his mouth, drew blood, or you hurt him, he ain't gonna mess with you anymore. But you got some pride and respect. We got to start busting folk right in the damn mouth of the jaw who've been messing with us. And we haven't yet. Or, well, at least not since the 60s. And it ain't the same generation. We've had two since then. So until we start getting our shit back together and TCB and taking care of business and start getting some pride and self-love, I'm black and I'm proud, we are going no damn where, because we are following a bunch that is so hateful of what they are that they don't even want to be it. They want to flop gender, fluid gender bullshit. They don't even like women. They want to put on sports bras, still got a dick and claim they're babes and go beat up on the girls. See, we got those who want to go out and seduce the children because they can't get over with somebody grown of the opposite sex. We have people that don't want anybody to shame them as they ought to be shamed. They don't want to feel a sense of guilt because they are scurrilous and they ought to be put in place. And it's an opportunity for Black folk and the whole damn country to unite around this common enemy. We cannot let somebody conduct an internal crusade to impose a religion on us. You may not be able to put it in school voluntarily, but you damn sure don't need somebody trying to force it through a school or through government or through culture. Now, I'm tired of it, and a lot of other people ought to be tired of it. You can go on, get your goddamn freak on your own like everybody else can, but we don't get out there and start screwing in the middle of the damn sidewalk. Or go out there and you straight, you flash your dick, see if your ass doesn't get thrown in jail. Now,
Yeah, I get it. It's just fascinating to me how
Share
like
the
it seems
mic,
like.
man. Share the mic.
Oh,
Hold
I'm
on,
sorry. It was stop. We're not doing that. Not up in this space. Everybody, when they have the mic, they could talk without being interrupted. Some people short, some people go longer. Go ahead, finish. Go ahead, Tora.
thank you. No, I just wanted to say because it's scary to me that you have so many people who are in government who I know don't feel the same way you do, and they feel the same way the majority of the people do, but they don't have a voice or they get shouted down. And I just want to figure out how can we get platform people who feel this way because the people you're talking about have the mic.
be brave and have courage, son. Study. There are ways. People have written about how to do it. It's out there. We used to read the Red Book. Mao always said in the teachings of Mao, teachings of Mao, he'd say, whenever you encounter incorrectness, no matter where, no matter who it may be, correct it. Do not tolerate it. That's what we ought to do. We need balls. And ladies, I guess you need your ovaries or something kicking in there because we have so few men these days. And by the way, man, that's a title. You got to earn that. If you just born and grow, you're a male.
There's no X in woman. Anything else you want to say, Tori? I'm sorry.
And
No,
thank
that's
you,
all.
son. I appreciate your remarks. They're pretty on point. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Yeah, honey. I speak to you behind the scenes, Torin, because I don't knock people hustle or what they do for a living, but I do got a question mark with I saw you on a panel somewhere, but I ain't gonna say who right now.
I got an idea. We'll talk.
Yeah. All right, AI, love, Kanye, then Derek, and then I'll swing around for a second round of people who spoke. I'll go back to you. And anybody else want to request to come up, please do so. Go ahead.
It's okay to say my name, Dana.
What do you mean say your name?
Nothing. Never mind.
Oh, you could wait for the second round, yes.
Yeah, okay.
You're not the only one waiting for the second round. Millennial wants to say something again too. So yeah. All right. AI, love, Kanye, and Derek. Go ahead, AI.
Yeah, thank you for having me up there, Dana. And Judge, it's a pleasure. I like you, man. I've been like you since I was a little kid, watching you on TV and stuff. I'll be like, oh man, that's Judge Joe Brown. You're kind of the reason why I got such a kick-ass mentality. So thanks for the masculine energy. Here's where I part ways with a lot of people, right? Red side, blue side, fuck both of them. They both lying to you. And here's the truth. You can't build truth on a body of lies. This nation has inherently been lying to its own citizens for far too long, right? And then we are in the age of Aquarium. That's the free flow of information. And I tell people, you keep holding on to this red, white, and blue Pledge of Allegiance, but they're not. They're constantly selling this nation out to China, to Russia, to whoever else is the biggest bidder. So what I would advise you is you stay on top of the ball because the wealth gap is growing. It's not shrinking. And with this newer innovation of technology is if you're not keeping up with the curve, you'll get left behind. Remember Blockbuster? Anybody can go to one of their stores right now? All right, don't you be the blockbuster of the internet. Don't you be the blockbuster of the real world, because this world is designed to consume you with materialism, to get you fall in, to get you consumed with what's going on. Who's president? The nuclear bombs, drill baby drill, all this is crap. I'm telling you right now, if you really want to find peace, it's going to start from within. Nobody on this stage is going to be able to help you find that path of salvation but you. And if your world is in turmoil and chaos, I suggest you tune your frequencies in to a different line of thought. And maybe your world might just get that bit much better. That's all I had to say. Judge Joe Brown, thank you yet again for sharing your gems with us, man. It's an interesting take. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. It just is a way.
Was that short enough for you, Sir Major?
Thank you for that.
Kanye.
Hello?
Yes. Unmute.
Oh, okay, there you go.
You're up
How you
to
doing?
bat.
Yeah. How you doing, Diana? How you doing, Judge? So I just wanted to say, I think what's missing has been the energy that you're bringing. And like a lot of these people, I was raised with my father, so I look at it very similar. And I think the problem is people are afraid of doing the right thing if they think they're gonna get in trouble for it. But there's certain pride in knowing that you did the right thing, even though you were persecuted for it. And you said something earlier that I completely agree with. The problem with these people constantly giving into hedonism is when you start to go down that path, people only loyal to their motivations, right? And the further they feed into this everything is okay thing, the lower the decency goes on that level, right? So all of a sudden they're trying to convince you that indecency is decency. It's a very wicked thing. And if nobody says anything, then this is what we stuck with. I mean, we at a point now we have to literally reevaluate what do we want to do. And as far as the community goes, it's going to sound real messed up, but I think a lot of these guys need to stop listening to these women. They don't know what the hell is going on, and they try to demonize you if you stand up to them. You have a group of males who were raised by their mothers to never criticize a woman's bad behavior, right? So in other words, it kind of fuses narcissistic thing, and everybody takes advantage of it except for us. So we have to learn how to take a step back from it and separate what needs to be done and how we feel. It may not feel good to tell the people in your family that they're wrong about something, but if you don't do it, look at how far it goes down. Chastisement is never a good thing, but we have to figure this out. But to answer the question, are Black people spiritually broken? I would say no. We just focusing on other things, like things that don't really matter. There's a lot of distractions out there that's filling up. And I think a lot of people around the country are starting to see that, especially with the Chicago situation. You see, they wanted to get together and vote to revoke the sanctuary city status in Chicago. Well, the city council got together and made it a permanent decision before the people could vote on it. So it's like when you start seeing stuff like that, it makes you wonder, wait, what has been the agenda the entire time? Because when they bring all these new people in these communities, they're not putting them anywhere else. They put them in right there with us, right? And that's to do two things to dilute the voting power. I think what happened was during the 2016 and 2020 elections, they saw that the trend of Black people voting for Trump or voting conservatively was going up. So they brought in a class of people to replace us. And I think that's exactly what's going on. Even in California, they're trying to pass some type of bill to where these illegal immigrants can become actual officers, right? And enforce the Constitution that they're not even, naturalized citizens yet. I think that's insane. But that's how far this thing is pushed because no one's standing up and say this is wrong. No one's fighting back. So here we are now. So like the longer we sit on the sidelines and not fight back, the worse it's going to get. And so before you know it, there's no choice between, peace and war. It's fight or surrender. So we got to keep pushing. But thank you so much, Judge. I want to say I agree with everything you said.
Wait, I have a question for you. What did you say about women don't know what they're talking about? I don't get it.
Well, I wasn't saying all women. I'm saying, but these women that he spoke about, the ones that are pushing this terrible narrative, we need to stop listening to them. I think the problem is when it's that auntie that you like so much and you at the family table and she's telling you that you vote for Joe Biden because the Democrats are this, and it may not feel good. And I don't care how many Snickers she brought you growing up, you had to look her in her eyes and tell her she's wrong and run down the history of all this evil stuff he spread. So the next generation won't be stuck in a worse situation than we are now.
Right. And do you say the same thing for the dusty men as well that think on the same lines as these women?
So I want to quote Judge Brown on this. Just because they're adult male doesn't make them men. I really look at them as less than nothing. They're toothless worms. You know that like they're just, they mean bad, but they have no actual bite. So yes, I look down on them extremely. So the disdain I have for those men that sit there and just cape for anything that these bad people say just out of fear is pathetic. It's the most cowardice shit I've ever seen in my life. To physically know what's going on and it's bad, and to deliberately not do nothing just to not face somebody being angry at you as a man, that is cowardice.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Appreciate that. And how old are you?
I can buy beer and drink.
Do you
Well,
mind giving
yeah.
your
How old
age?
are you?
I'm 31. I'll be 32 next month.
Okay,
Okay.
you're younger than my youngest child. Thank you,
Hmm.
son. You give me hope.
That's
And
why I
look,
asked,
Give me hope.
and that's
That's
why,
why we ask.
and that's why I asked your age. So don't get snippy. It's a
no,
lot
I
of
was being
times,
funny. I was literally chewing on a.
yeah. Don't be a smart ass, but I get it.
I
um,
mean, no disrespect. I was trying to joke.
All right. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to Derek, and then I'm gonna swing to Millennium, Sir Major, and then go to Ken Davis and Real Queen, and Liv JD. Go ahead, Derek.
What's going on, everybody? I got a few things. I'm gonna try to make it as quick as I can. But first and foremost, just want to say, Judge Joe Brown, man, you partially raised me from the TV set, man. I learned a lot from you, watching you, man. I got mad respect for you. So I just want to say that. But also, I wanted to address one thing first. One of the speakers were talking about how he doesn't feel that we should have had razor wire at the border. Well, listen, if you're not coming in illegally, it doesn't matter what we have. I think we should have alligators. We should have Sasquatch or the abominable snowman, whoever we can have to keep these people from coming in, because there's no other country that you can do that. There's no other country you can do that at. So why are we allowing it? Well, we know why. And so I just want to talk about that. Also, with the LGBTQ movement, we know that this is just a lie from Satan. It's something that Barack is definitely, he swung the gates of hell wide open for this. And these foolish black people are going along with it. The high-minded, the silly, stupid people that I hate to say the word stupid, but it's ignorant, because the information is out there. All you have to do, it's at your fingertips. We are in an age of information where it's plenty of information out there to not be a victim of this. You should not be going along with this. The whole Democratic plan, it's been nothing but evil and deceitfulness from day one. So how in the world, in this day and age, in 2024, could you be going along with something like that? And none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. So I think most black people should have a conservative mindset, anyway. So it doesn't make any sense to be going along with this stuff. And it gets really frustrating. I see a lot of you posts, Judge, and you address a lot of stuff. I'm kind of the same way. I really have no nonsense understanding of this, and I'm just tired of people coming in here. They're coming in here. They're letting them in here, and they're stealing the benefits and the amenities of the people that we've been sitting here working hard and fighting for. We're paying our taxes. We're doing all this stuff, and they get to come right in here, and they get better benefits than most of the blacks. They talking about. I seen a video the other day. They were I don't know if it was in Chicago or wherever, but they had the Hispanic guy screaming and telling the black people, you lazy, no more work, no more money for you. And I'm like, y'all get better benefits than we do. Yeah, they're all black. It's lazy black, but it's lazy Mexican, it's lazy white, it's lazy in every race. So I don't understand why black people keep getting this stereotype.
You need to mute your
lazy.
mic. Mute up, because you're
I
moving
thought I
around.
had.
No.
I thought I had. Hold on. I'm in another room.
Go ahead, Derek.
Right. So it's like, I don't understand why people are going along. And I'm just specifically addressing black, but all races. There's nowhere in the world we should be going along with what's happening in this country right now. Nobody. And so, I'm a barber. I have a lot of people from all walks of life coming to my shop, and I'm constantly trying to open the minds and open the eyes and the ears of these people. And I pound it. And sometimes I lose business, but I'm not forceful. But I make them think, and a lot of times I get good results. Sometimes I get pushback, but I don't care. I say what I say, and I have people that come in that are clients that are homosexual. They know where I stand. I tell them, listen, I love you. I will treat you just like I treat my brother and sister, but I'm not condoning your lifestyle, and I'm not condoning the gay movement, and I'm not condoning a man having a baby, or men having drag time in schools and all these different. This stuff is not. It's non-negotiable for real men and people who are Christian and people who believe in the way that life is supposed to go, the natural order of things. We should not be bowing down and kowtowing to this. But I want to ask one question before I go, Judge. What do you think? What can, because I know coming from you, you're a judge. What do we have to do, or what does Congress have to do as far as them being able to pack the courts? How can we stop, or can we, even as citizens, how can we help or contribute toward them not being able to pack the courts and push this crazy agenda? Because we have people in high positions of authority that are sick, that are mentally sick, they are messed up, and they are getting people to they're bullying people, just go along with it. Joe Biden is the worst person in the freaking world. And they always talk about assassinating Trump. That's the one that you should. That's the one that they need to take out. I would just say that.
Don't say that.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's a federal
Hey,
crime.
drop him right now.
No, we don't need to drop him. Just be aware that they treat that as a federal crime. Ordinarily, it would be hyperbole. One is just expressing a sentiment. But today, don't test it. That's another example. The answer to your question, hold your nose if you have to, vote blue and turn the red bastards out. They are not good. They're zealots, disciples for this new cause that they're trying to install to corrupt not just black folk, but humanity. And by the way, over in Ukraine, the Russians have 4 things they're over there for. One, a whole lot of Ukrainians ask them to come in because Ukraine used to be part of the old Soviet Empire and then the Russian empire before that. And essentially, they've been a big part of Russia. Several of their premiers have been Ukrainians, Nikita Khrushchev amongst many. Second thing, they're trying to stop resurgent Nazism because Stalin said, get your hands off Ukraine after World War II when they had the Nuremberg trials. They didn't touch Ukraine and it's resurging. That's Nazism. Second one of the local factions, not local, but international things, is the sex trafficking that they're engaged in over there. And you have only to look at what's been going on lately about revelations here and the connections. And then the other one that is most important that they are advertising with great resonance all over the world is they are trying to stop the United States from imposing on Europe the rainbow cult, starting with Ukraine, where they will have an inside track on it. And those are the 4 things. Ukrainians want to be part of Russia. 2, stop Nazism. 3, stop the sex trafficking. And 4, stop the spread of the rainbow cult. Now, that's what they're doing over there.
I'm gonna no, just mute her for a second because I need to go to the people. I need to go to the second round. I want to go to Millennial, then Ricky, and then Ken, and then I'll swing to you, Kanye. Go ahead, Millennial.
Thank you for having me back on. To give a little bit more feedback into what Tyson was saying, and then I also wanted to circle back on something that the judge spoke on, which was very important. When he was mentioning he couldn't understand how it's so easy for people to fall for the agenda and the LGBT stuff that's going on right now, specifically us as Black people, is you have to look a little bit deeper. You have to start peeling back the layers of that onion. And when you look at what comes with accepting that agenda is things that we have lacked in our community. You get power, you get protection, and now you get money from it. It's monetized to be part of that group. We've been seeing this since the 90s. If you're a Black man who's willing to put on a dress, they'll paper you up. So it's actually easy to understand why people are falling for it, because society as a whole, many of the people within society, we lack that. You lack power, you lack protection, and you want money. So, hey, it looks like if you want to go sign up for that, you want to put on a dress and prance and throw your hips around, you'll get papered up. So that's why a lot of our people are unfortunately falling for it. And if you really think back to, and I'm speaking specifically on us as Black people, if you look back on our history through what our people dealt with, from slavery through buck breaking, we've always been looked at as the homophobic group in this country, rightfully so. I mean, I can think back even, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Black men who could relate to this. Black people don't really do that wrestling thing. You go to roll around on the floor as a little boy with another boy. Your parents will step in real quick and say, "Hold on, no, break that up. We don't do that." But there's a history behind why that was the case, and there's historical reference and reasoning behind that. And then going back to what the judge was saying about, the necessity of having men around, that's that's so true. Because I can think back, growing up, I had a father, I had men around me, and me and my cousins. If you got hurt, you didn't have no woman coming over there hugging you and telling you everything's okay and holding you while you cry. You wipe your knee off and you shake it off and walk it off. Go ahead. So there's a lack of that out here right now. You got little boys being raised by single mamas, watching a mama dress up in the mirror, do their hair, the boys prancing around in the house in mama's high heel shoes. Now, what kind of man is that going to turn into when he grows up? Every time he gets in trouble, mama's over there talking about how her baby didn't do nothing. She gonna hug up on him. And the only time he actually experiences chastising is when he pisses off mama. So when he goes off into society as a male, trying to figure out what it means to be a man, he doesn't have any respect for male authority because he's never experienced male authority. Men who grow up in households that experience the law, but the exceptions do not disprove the rule. That's why manhood is so important, and boys need to be raised by fathers or just need to be around men in general to see what that looks like. Because the most dangerous thing out here in the world is an overly emotional male because he possesses power that a woman can never possess, but he's carrying the emotions of that woman. That's a dangerous individual. I'll land my plane.
All right, so this is what I'm gonna do.
Thank you. That was well said. Well
Mhm.
said.
I'm gonna go to, okay, so live JD, he dropped off because you would have been second. But I'm gonna go to Real Queen. I don't see live JD anymore. So I'm gonna go to Real Queen, and then I'm gonna go to Ricky, and then I'm gonna come to you, Kanye, and then Tyson.
No, you said me. Don't do that.
Okay, well, did you have your hand up? Because I'm not,
Yes,
I don't
ma'am.
have time. No, you
You
did.
don't.
Because you just put it up. Don't play with me.
Dana, you already said me. Now, come on.
I'm gonna go to Real Queen, and I'm gonna go to Ricky, then you, Sir Major. Everyone, put your hand up if you want to speak again, so that way I know. So, Real Queen, Ricky, Sir Major, and then I'm gonna come to you, Kanye, then Tyson. And then if anybody want to request to come up, do so. Go ahead, Real Queen.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I want to say that it's a cowardice cop out, okay, to say, well, since the red states and the blue states and the political parties are the same, I ain't voting. That's a cowardice cop out because there are distinct differences in the parties, okay? And you don't throw out the rule book because you have bad referees. You don't do that in football over bad calls, okay? You have to choose a side. Are you for the Niners? Are you for Tampa Bay? Whatever. In life, you must choose a side. Same with politics. Don't be cowardly and lazy and say, oh, I'm not going to vote because of corrupt politicians. No, choose a side. And that was to address what some guy came up and said earlier. Now, to address whether or not Black folks are spiritually dead, yes. And it's a spiritual death that began, I would say, really took root after the civil rights movement, okay? And a lot earlier, to be honest, with like the NOI being given to us, all these little detrimental vices, okay, being given to Black folks that we did not create nor author, like nationalism, racism, all these stupid ideals that retract from human nature. And I just think the sooner we get off of these concepts and ideals, the better off we will be as a people. Collective racism, groupism, and stuff never worked for anybody. It didn't work for the Nazis in Germany. It won't work for us. We're not monolithic people. We are very divided, very diverse group of people. We're confused. And so to push these concepts isn't working. It's nonsense, okay? Yes, we are spiritually dead. Our spirit is corrupted to the core thanks to the Democratic Party, the machine, the establishment, all the lies. You know, we're nurtured to want to receive free things, to be virtue signaled, to stroked and coddled, as opposed to producing as a people, being productive as a people. We've lost our way. Prior to the civil rights movement, we had cohesion enough to create businesses, to be successful. We were passing up white Americans in every facet of life, economically, socially, in the schools, but we didn't believe enough in ourselves. And we said, oh, I want to be in the white schools, you know, and we sold out. And we just need to stop with all the selling out, the gravitating to what's trendy, what's liberal, and all the fucking nonsense, okay? And get back to business. So the sooner we divorce from concepts like racism, Black nationalism, which will never work, the better off we'll be as a people. Because bravery, courage, honor, integrity, balance, order, justice, agency, personal agency over self, responsibility, manhood, womanhood have nothing to do with skin color. And I'll rest my case.
Can everybody just real quick share out this space? I don't know, if people could hear it, or I hope it's not. I don't think it's being shadow blocked or whatever. But just share out this space, retweet it, and I'll put it in a jumbotron. Judge Joe Brown barbecue sauce, along with the link to the website. You can also purchase it on Amazon. It's delicious. Go get it. And I want to go to Ricky, Sir Major, Kanye, Tyson, and anybody else want to request to come up, please do so. Go ahead, Ricky.
So as we get into this election season, we do have a lot of Democrat shows, and they're taking over spaces, and they're taking over Twitter, and they're saying vote blue no matter who, and they're specifically targeting and attacking Black men. They're very anti-male, and they're part of these communities, and they all have the same talking points. And this is something we have to counteract that information more. Like, I'm a leftist, I know a lot of y'all are Republicans and right wings, but on the issues that we agree on, we got to fight on these issues. And we can't let these shills take over the conversation, because most of these conversations are not serious. And even sometimes when we think we're having real conversations, it's shills running them. And I'll end.
Sir Major. And Moses, I think that's you. You're requesting to come up. I just need to make sure that you're not a troll or a bot or whatever. So send me a message. Go ahead, Sir Major.
Thanks, Dana. I appreciate this space and opportunity to speak. You're one of my favorites on this app. Thank you also for thanks for also for encouraging the wise man, Judge Joe Brown, to get on the social media app and commingle with the young folks and be able to do these questions. I think it's really important that and I want to highlight that moment that you've done that. And Judge, you don't let your celebrityism, get to you, because most people don't do this. They don't take their time weekly or bi-weekly to come on the app to engage with folks, answer questions, and be a real human being. So we appreciate Dana and Judge Joe Brown for that. My question is this. Is there any sort of, and I had this debate yesterday on my floor, or Yeah, the day before yesterday on the floor with the gentleman who used to be a federal employee. He's now running for Congress. He used to be the federal, I think, HSI investigator. The debate that I had on the floor was: is there any sort of federal discrimination lawsuit that could be potentially filed against the either a federal government or local states or cities that are sanctuary cities? Because right now, what they're allowing to happen is illegal immigrants, aliens to drive. They're not required to have driver license. They're not required to have insurance. They have been causing many accidents in the United States just over the last few months, right? And if if we are caught, meaning Americans are caught driving without a license, driving with uninsured, and we cause some sort of accident, we're going to be held liable. Many of us will be taken to jail. A lot of these illegal immigrants aren't even being taken to jail. They aren't worried about their cars being repossessed. So, is there a federal lawsuit that could potentially be filed, or the government is responsible? I'm thinking 1983 cases, and also I'll add this to the record: they have specialized license plates. Can you imagine that? Illegal aliens who just got here have special license plates. That's the first question. My second question, Judge, is in August of 2024, the DNC will be in Chicago. What sort of direct actions would you encourage Black folks to take, or even really Americans, patriots, to take around that time? I know that Mark Carter is a dear brother of ours who's been teaching us about the Office of New Americas, which is a rollout program that allocates funds to illegal immigrants, but also they're getting preferential treatments. And so in August of 2024, the DNC is going to be doing their national convention in Chicago. So I want to know, what things would you encourage people to do around that time?
Okay, let's put it this way. What I would think, hope you do, I'm not going to say, because that would be illegal. And I don't know everybody on here. And there are probably a bunch of snitches and pimps up on this site right now, all through X. Now, if you want to find out what you do, just check out history, recent history. They'll tell you how to do it. Tiananmen Square, what happened back in the 60s, all across the spectrum around here. They'll tell you what to do. Now, the lady spoke on something I briefly want to touch on. I think the civil rights movement, the way it was as a movement, was very bad for Black folk because it conditioned Black people to think that the way to do things was to get down on your knees and beg for it instead of taking it or enforcing it or being able to effectively demand it and deliver consequence for the failure of the thing to come. That was, I think, the worst part of it. There is a difference between integration and segregation. If you go to a park or you go to a business and you see no dogs allowed, that's what it used to be like. I've experienced. In other words, no two-legged dogs allowed in here. Well, I'm a human, and if I feel like coming in there, I'm coming in there, and I'm glad I wasn't an adult because I'd have gotten in a whole lot of trouble. But see, that was the bottom line. It was forcible exclusion, and you pay taxes, you live there, you paid your dues, and there are people who came in a lot later than your ancestors did, and they get all these benefits and you don't. So we were getting rid of discrimination, not so much promoting immigration, though that just came about. And the other thing is now, quite frankly, this isn't politically correct to say it, but there are a lot of Negroes I don't want to live next door to because they don't know how to act. They don't keep the yards clean. They don't keep the children under control. The music is shared for people, two people, 3 blocks away, and they act ignorant. And they bring their homies by and they burglarize your place and you want to kill someone. So it is what it is on that. But we have to get our stuff together And we have to understand that the way America works is that it has consequences that can be very harsh, but it leaves a lot up to the individual to deal with by virtue of his ability or her ability to engage in self help. And that includes to defend yourself. When you've got a coward who wants people to stand up to his bullies for him or her, you have trouble. And when you start getting the government to stand up for you, you start running the risk of installing a totalitarian government that'll make it safe, all right, but also make you a perpetual child from cradle to grave because you'll never be able to exercise a free adult's rights. Now, that said, I admired what you said, lady. That was pretty good. I like that. Now, pass the mic.
Kanye.
But
Yes.
Judge, you didn't answer the question about the federal lawsuit potentially.
Okay, federal lawsuit potential. Waste of time. By the time you got through resolving it, the way to deal with it will be come and gone. You know how you deal with it? That's that self-help bit. You know what a self-help bit is? It's called a voting poll. Turn these blue bastards the hell out of office before they screw more shit up.
And that goes for a local level, not just your national presidential election. You're talking local level because when you talk about the driver's license, that's happening on a local level. All right, Kanye, you're up.
One last remark. We just had an election in Memphis late last year. You know, the son of a bitches that got in office, black, are talking about making Memphis, Tennessee a sanctuary city. That's the new mayor. That's the black female chief of police and the black sheriff. And these idiots are talking about making the city a sanctuary city.
Now you're talking, displacement and moving black folks out. And I think that's what the ultimate plan is.
Yeah. Well, see, the problem is in Memphis, only 19.1% of the registered voters are white. 70% plus of the police department and the sheriff's department are black. 80% of the command authority in both are black. 60% of the criminal court judges are black and female. 75% of the jury pool is black. Where the hell is white supremacy in this? It's not. It's stupidity. Goddamn Negro stupidity, greed, and vanillity, and bullshit. But the bottom line is see, we have to take the opportunity to control ourselves. We're not damn dogs, and the way to get ahead is not to depend on somebody coming up sending $19 a month to save the Negro Fund.
Kanye.
Man, I just want to say it once again. I agree with everything he just said. The crazy part about all of this is during the 60s, I mean, this is from my studies I went alive then. You had two options, right? You had the way Malcolm was trying to do things, you had the way King was trying to do things. One of them said by any means necessary, one of them said don't swing back. Now, if you beg for a seat at your enemy's table, don't be surprised they poison you when you sit down. And that's exactly what happened. We got poisoned when we sat down. And then you look at the church. Like the church used to be the mobilization center for the civil rights movement. They sold all us out for 501c3s, right? So now they can't no longer speak on this thing. So essentially what they did was they killed the movement by giving money. Now, what the judge just said was 100% right. A lot of this stuff is due to inadequate leaders, right? People who say the right thing and they do the right thing. And they'll sell you out on a local level just to make the national people proud. At the end of the day, and I grew up a quarter mile, grew up maybe 35 minutes away from Memphis. And when I tell you that there is enough problems there, than to bring in another impoverished class of people. Like that's not going to make the situation better. And I would not be surprised if that's precisely what they do. We got to start electing smarter people. I know earlier I wanted to say this. It starts at the local level, right? If we start electing independents at the local level, right, who's not beholden to a certain party because they pay their dues, right, who are independent thinker, then all of a sudden we'll start to see it shift a little bit. It's a slow burn. Like we have a large mess in front of us due to incompetency and blind hope that eventually things will go the way these people are saying. To quote Malcolm X, if they've been singing "We Shall Overcome" for X number of years, somebody has failed you. So I think we gotta figure this out on ourselves. But I forgot the question I wanted to ask the young lady. But it's just so much nonsense that flow through the minds of our quote unquote intellectual, educated people, and you just ask yourself, it don't even make sense. Like if you think with a straight face, right, that if we live here as sovereign citizens, I mean citizens, right, if we break the law, we go to jail for it. We don't get rewarded for breaking the law. They give you cash bonds and things like that, even if you're not guilty, right? They siphon off your money, right? And a system that you can't hope to win. Most people plea out. It's a circus, and then to see that they're getting rewarded for breaking the law, your first act into this country shouldn't be breaking the law. And if you are into this country illegally, you should be treated as such. I mean, it's no. I cannot break into a Walmart and say, "Well, I just wanted some toast. I'm hungry." Now I'm going to jail. It is what it is, and I don't think people should have more freedoms than us, especially since we paved the way for freedom in this country. And every time we do something, every time we fight for progress, everybody benefits from it, right? There was black folks out there fighting for freedom and stuff like that, right? And when they passed the bill, every other race that wasn't white and every other religion got the same benefits we got, but they lump us all in together. I think we need to start doing what the judge said. I mean, we had to start standing up. We start putting our own people up. But that's all I want to say.
I want to ask you something, Kanye. Two things. I agree with what you said too. So like you said, if you go to Walmart and steal bread, you'll be arrested, but a legal door they won't. And this is the thing though. They don't have to steal it at Walmart because what Walmart is doing, what they literally are doing right now, Walmart has a contract with state and federal government. They get grants for aiding to migrants. A friend of mine who lives in the Philadelphia area, she went to Walmart and it was the last hour closing. They allow the illegal migrants to come in here to get coats and stuff for the kids and stuff like that. And you know what? I don't have a problem with that. Walmart is it's a business, private business or whatever. But that they are getting subsidized from the federal and state government. And before the illegal migrants, they were getting subsidized grants from the federal and state government. So they don't have to steal anything because private entities like corporations and our federal government and some states are giving it to them for free for the purpose of what the judge explained in the beginning of this space, numbers to increase their representation on a state and national level. But yeah, so one of the other problems is when you look at the corporations that are aiding the illegal migrants to, giving them health care, shelter, education, room and board, clothes, food, all that. Now, the children should not be freezing because it is cold. But again, these corporations are not being held responsible because our government is
Paying them
an
to do that.
accomplice to, they are allowing the illegal migrants. So this is also a money grab as well. So yeah, I agree with you. Like if we do it, we get in trouble and we are footing a bill. But when they do it, they don't get in trouble. But a lot of things that is considered against the law for us is made legal for the illegal migrants. And then one other point you mentioned, at I guess a certain point in time when black people, you said, were begging to be at the table, the devil's table or whatever. We do need representation at the table. You have to be in a room because if you're outside the room, if you're outside protesting, you will get nothing done. It's just the problem is those black people that was fighting to be at that table sold their souls to that quote unquote devil.
Can I clarify what I meant by that?
Yeah.
So what I meant when I said if you beg for a seat at your enemy's table, right, they're gonna poison you when you sit down. Now, if you look at the Italians when they came into this country, right, they brought this thing from Sicily called the mafia. They literally corrupted a lot of the political system, right, and was able to get government contracts for their people, right, legitimate jobs. The Irish were able to muscle their way into the police departments and the fire departments. They found essential things in the system, right, and they forced a seat at the table, right. That's very different. When you beg for a seat, it's a different story, right, because they know you sit that seat with power. The judge alluded to it, and he was talking about some of the events that took place in the 60s, right? So essentially what happened was they forced their way, right? Because if somebody gives you something, that's a concession. But if you take something, that's a release. It's two different things. So I'm saying like the way we get to where we want to go is by, kind of following the blueprints that's worked before. Because you look at right now, even to this day on the East Coast, most of those cops and stuff like that tend to have Irish heritage because those jobs tend to be passed down. There's a lot of nepotism going on, even with the fire departments, and even to this day, even in Philadelphia, I think it was a situation where one of the mob bosses, whatever, got up in a correction scandal with codes for construction in the city. But the overall point is, we went about it the wrong way, and I do think that the reason why they promote certain black leaders over others is because they don't want people remembering what the actual spirit was at the time, and it's by any means necessary. And that's how all change is forced around the world.
You know what you're saying is about the
Wait,
movement.
I'm sorry, everybody. I need
Ex-
everybody stay on their mic. I want to ask you a question, but who is the enemy? Who is the enemy you're alluding to?
Anybody that stands in the way of our self-interest. I'm not saying call out for all
Of
our war. I'm
black
saying it's like
of wait, anybody? It's Judge. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you cleaning? What are you cleaning right now?
I'm not cleaning anything. I just took my earphones off. That's my mic. Hold on. Okay.
No, you make a dog sounds.
I wanna kind of who is the enemy? Are you
Let
talking
me
about
say
the white
something.
man?
well, no, I'm
No,
not
let me
saying
ask
that.
him the question first,
I
so I
wanted
can
to
have
ask him
clarity. I want
something.
wait. Let him answer my question, and
Well, I
then.
wanted to ask him, add
But
in on to
can
your
he answer
question.
my
But go ahead,
question?
go
Because
ahead,
I
go
need
ahead, go ahead.
clarity. Thank you. Who are you referring to as the enemy?
Well, anybody that stands in the self-interest of our people, right? And that could be anybody.
Black
So,
people. Black
yeah,
people.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like if it's just at this point, right? At this point in time,
Mm.
it's bigger than that on a national level, but on a micro level, if we're talking about us, if the guy down and like he's talking about the mayor of Memphis, for example, right? If she's coming up with stupid ass policies like that, then we have to find a way to replace her with the next in the next election cycle, right? You see what I'm getting at? So anybody who stands in the way of that progress needs to go.
Right. Because I would say this today, the enemy looks like us.
I don't believe that.
I do. But and that's where me and you may differ, but that's what I want to kind of like clarity
Well,
on.
see,
But
I think the problem with this is right. I think there's a lack of information people have going on, right?
Bring
So
it down.
they
Can you
no,
hear
I'm
me?
sorry. Can everybody stay on their mic?
No,
Thank
I'm just
you.
asking, do you hear me? Though.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
we can
I'm
hear you. Yes, we can
actively
hear you.
trying to listen to what you're saying now.
But go
Okay,
ahead,
good.
Kanye.
Yeah,
You are correct though, Dana.
yeah. So what I'm getting at is this, right? So if you buy into the philosophy that we are our worst enemy, you become a tool in your own oppression, right? What I'm getting at is this, right? Never contribute to malice, which you can contribute to stupidity, right? And granted, yes, some of these people are in the way, which is why we're saying that we have to raise up our own candidates from scratch, right? Now, if they're in the way, regardless of what color, what system they are, right, they need to be removed. You have some people who wholeheartedly believe into the message that the Democrats are now preaching, right? They wholeheartedly believe it, right? And they believe they're doing the best for our people, right? That's pure just ignorance there that has to be removed. So I'm not calling for race war, just saying.
Okay. Judge.
I was gonna do this. We've got Democratic candidates who are black, and they're out there campaigning, say we need to get it together, and the white supremacists, they're keeping the black man down, and you need to get me in there so I can straighten this out. Now, when you put them in there, what happens is they're sitting at that table you're talking about, son, and they're going, boss, y'all sure been good to me. Yes, sir, you sure been. Now, what is that you say I'm on with? Oh, sure enough, that's good. Oh, forget them niggas. Goddamn hell with them colored folks. Them Negroes don't know shit. They don't know what the hell they doing. I'll fix it up for you, boss. That's right. Now, how much? Ooh, boss, you sure good to me. Next scene. Yes, I've been in there, and these racists, these white supremacists, they're standing in the way. They won't give us what we are asking for, and they owe it to us. Next time you get back to the meeting, boss, I gave it to him. It was good, wasn't it, boss? Yeah, I heard you, boy. That was real commendable. You put that right well. Yes, sir. You can count on me. Sure can. Yes, you can, sir. See, that's what we get representing us. And by the way, one other little remark. Back when students in the intelligentsia used to be the radicals. Now that it got so easy over the last 50 years to get in school, we've got a category that got the exposure to education but didn't get educated, and then there's some boule son of a bitches that sell us out, and they're the ones pulling off that handkerchief head Uncle Tom nonsense when they get a chance to sit at the table, and instead of negotiating for the people, they're negotiating selling the people out, and for how much. Now I'll pass the mic.
But can I say
Um,
something real quick?
Second
But,
job. Say,
but that's
sir.
what I meant when I
You're
said
on.
force.
Excuse me,
wait,
sir. Excuse
one
me.
second. Wait, one second. One second. Let me test your audio, real queen. Say something.
Test 1, 2. Can you hear me?
Say
Oh,
something.
wait.
Are you on speaker right now?
Oh, can you hear me now? Do you hear me good? Better?
That's better. All right. So, I want Kanye to just follow up. Then I'll have you do a 30-second rebuttal, and then I want to go to the other speakers because I know you wanted to jump in and say something. But
Yeah.
okay. So go ahead, Kanye. Finish up, and then I'll go to Real Queen, and then I'll read down the next order.
Oh, thank you. No, but that's what I was saying earlier. It's about forcing your way there versus cooning your way there. And I think we all kind of know what that looks like. And that's why I say it's important that we raise up our own candidates, because when they pick the people for you, then you get what you get. And, I know there's a lot of, boule, Uncle Tom, coon ass people in there, but we know those people when we see them. And I think they shouldn't be the only option.
Okay. Go ahead, Real Queen.
Okay, I just want to give props to the Honorable Judge Joe Brown, okay? Because when he speaks about pro-Black, okay, he's the only one that makes sense, okay? Other people sound like blah, 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 and fucking nonsense, okay? You got to have wisdom and know what you're talking about to address anything, right? And so I don't really believe in pro-Black because it's nonsense. It won't work without the right tools and ideals and policies and agenda to make it work. I just want to give props to Judge Joe for that. Salute.
Well, let me just say this because, and that's fine. You don't have to believe in pro-Black, but
Is she black?
if somebody,
I don't
I
think
believe
so.
so. I don't know. I think so. Yeah.
I don't think so. Look at our page.
Okay, but my skin color is just about the same and I'm Black. But
She
my
could be
point is
Puerto Rican.
this. My point is this. If somebody is pro-Black, that doesn't mean that what they're saying is stupid or ignorant. I respect what everybody has to say, whether I agree or disagree. I do appreciate what Kanye said. I don't know. I know that's not your real name, but he is a millennial. Yeah. And I
Was that
like,
directed toward me? I'm saying, was there a response directed toward me?
I don't know who it was, but I'm just saying whoever she was talking to, but especially I think a lot of young people do get shunned out. But everyone, if
Clear it up. I'm addressing all you dudes on here except Judge Joe Brown.
okay,
So
so you're
what did
addressing
I say you
everybody.
disagree with?
But
Just
What did
sound
I say
on.
you disagree with?
No, you sound unpolished and unlearned on these panels. Okay.
What
So
did I
can
say
I,
that you disagree with?
no,
Kanye?
okay,
Let's let
so
her go.
okay, so
Kanye, let her go.
No, what did I say you disagree
Wait
with?
a minute. All I've been hearing is Judge Joe correct you guys because
What
you've
did
been
I
wrong.
say that you disagree with?
You've been wrong.
Specifically. Like what? Like what?
You
Give me
know,
an example.
some guy come up talking about the Italians. Well, buddy,
What
don't
did I
you
say that you
realize
disagree
that?
with?
Now, hold on, that's state specific. The
What?
Italians is at nationwide in every state in America.
Interesting.
You know,
So, are you familiar with La Cosa Nostra?
and that's another specific incident.
No, I'm saying what I was getting at was right the unity aspect and what they did.
Uh
So
huh.
there's a guy by
Right,
the name
but
of
it's
Lucky
not.
Luciano. See, I'm a history major. There's a guy by the name of Lucky Luciano, right? A Sicilian. He got together, created this thing called the Commission. They operated in Kansas City, the Northeast, Florida, New Orleans, and out west, right? At Hollywood, Chicago, Milwaukee, Kansas, a few other places, right? The point is they had a nationwide board
Mm-hmm.
where they came and decided what they were going to do. And in that, they had government contracts. It was this thing by the name of the Teamsters, right? It's a big union led by a guy, not going to
Okay.
say his name, but you know who he was, right? AKA Jimmy Hoffa. There you go. Long story short, they was able to control that pension
That's what I was
dollars.
going to say, Las Vegas.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the guy by the name of Bugsy Siegel, who was under that same commission table that
but
Lucky Luciano created decades
but
before. So when we
casinos.
talk about, when I'm talking about what they did as a people to establish power in this country, that's what I'm speaking on. And when I talked about the Irish, don't take my word for it. There's this thing called Google. There's this thing called Chat
But
GPT. You can literally
It's
go
free.
punch it in there and you can look it up. It's 100% free. Like y'all love coming up here being these shields for these people.
Sir,
The judge can disagree with me now one time. All he said was he added something to what I was talking about.
Wait, real quick, let him speak and then you could speak. Because when you try to cut him off, the audio is totally off.
Look at God. Listen, at the end of the day, what I'm saying is factual. The judge never said I was wrong. He just added to that. The same like he did with certain ages spoke. See, that's the difference. Y'all don't understand how men communicate. If I'm wrong about something, he's going to correct me and add on to what I'm saying and show me where I went wrong. That's called guidance, right? And I understand a lot of y'all don't understand what that looks like. It's not him condemning me. It's him saying, hey, son, this way, that way. And that's what our elders are for. See, it's young men for war, old men for counsel. The brother just said, after I spoke the first time, I gave him hope because I'm younger than his youngest son. So anything he say to me now, I'm taking that. All right, let me see what I need to do. Versus to get on stage and say you don't believe in pro-black. This is a black conversation we have. These are all black people on stage. If you don't believe in pro-black, why are you here?
Well,
But
this
see,
is technically not a. I did say earlier in the space, even though the question has black in it, but I like for everyone of all backgrounds to mention. However, you don't have to keep explaining yourself, Kanye, because And by the way, I just followed you because I would like to invite you onto my YouTube channel. I like when young people are talking. I like when young people, like you say, he's a history major. Know something. He knows some things. And again, real quick, you don't have to agree with people, but don't come up here saying that people are unintelligent because you don't believe in pro-black and somebody does. So
and
that's
that's not even
that's not having an intellectual conversation. But go ahead and reply real quick, and then I have to go to Tyson next.
Okay, it's gonna be really brief, sister. Now,
well,
I'm just
I don't do tribalism. I don't.
He mentioned, yeah, me neither. But he mentioned, the Italians and specific incidences, and not all Italians have casinos. Okay, first and foremost. Another,
I never said all, sweetheart.
come on down, fallacy. And the thing is, wisdom helps you to ground yourself and see the bigger picture better. You guys have a way to go, is all I'm saying. And that's it, basically. Salute,
Can
Jeff.
I say something real quick?
So wait 1 second. So do you think wisdom is with age and not experience?
Well, with age comes wisdom.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
And it's very rare for people to mature
No,
fast.
it's not. It's not rare. It's not rare. It's not.
Mature faster than
it's
boys.
Not, it's not, because if you are a lot of times well traveled, well read, because when a judge was in college during his time, I would say he was more wiser than I am at 47, and he was what, 25. So again, wisdom doesn't come with age. Wisdom comes with experience.
Let me remind you something, sister. Not many black folk read, okay, first and foremost.
Well, we're not okay, so we're not going to do that. And I said I don't do tribalism. You don't believe in the sister thing, so I don't know why you keep calling me sister. That's being condescending.
She Hispanic.
Now, I don't care what she is. I'm nobody's sister. I don't do brother, I don't do sister. But the fact of the matter is, people in America today don't read because we have the internet. Don't put that just on black people. Now, can you say, yeah, kids should be in the library, they should learn the Dewey Decimal System, all that? Yes. But don't sit up here and say black people don't read. I'm not about to have that trajectory go on. And I'm not about to place that on a young generation. And I'm not about and also, for a fact, wisdom does not come with age. It does come from experience.
You wanted me to finish or whatever.
No, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to wrap up, but if you want to insult everyone up here, there's no need for you to finish.
Whether they take it personal or not, Has nothing to do with me. I didn't insult.
It's not whether nobody's not taking what you're saying personal, but to insult people who you disagree with is a problem. So you can disagree and you can have that conversation, but you don't have to throw insults.
That's just the same thing as saying that they wetbacks and they eat tacos. Like
Well,
these devils made up these.
Right. Okay, Tupac.
They made up this. You know what I'm saying? They made that up to keep it separate.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Go ahead and finish up, Real Queen.
Okay, I do have white in my family. I heard a lot of attacks on white people today. No one wrote it back. However, we're doing selective stuff.
Nobody didn't attack white people.
Why is she even in this room, Miss Diana?
Nobody did not attack white people, because if anybody could come up here, whether you white, black, red, blue, I don't give a fuck. But nobody did not say anything negative against white people.
White people need to attack the Jews.
Okay, I need everybody to stay on their mic. This is what I'm not going to do. We're not going to do this up in this space. We're not going to do that. We're not doing it.
I'm going to close out real quick. I'm going to say sorry if I offended anyone. It wasn't my intent.
It's a mute, because I muted and now everyone is unmuted.
If I could just say, the same way there are Democrat chills, there's also.
I'm sorry. Can everybody please stay on their mic? Because I'm coming around. So real queen, finish up so I can move on to the next person.
Okay, I'm gonna say real briefly. Sorry if I offended anyone tonight. Now, I'm gonna say this: people need the tools, the proper tools in life to be successful. If you're selling a narrative, you need the proper tools and the know-how. That's it. Okay, and salute to Judge Joe Brown, because he makes perfect sense. He has the knowledge, the wisdom, and the lived experience to do it, to convey the message. Peace out.
Thank you. I want to go to Tyson. All right, so Tyson Derek, Liv JD, you dropped and then you came up and it wasn't no room to bring you up. So if you request to come up, I'll bring you right up, but you're not up here right now. So I'm gonna go to Tyson Derek, then Tupac, then the Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Who is it? Tyson. Go Tyson.
I was about to say, like that whole last conversation is kind of ironic. It came up right before I was to speak or trying to speak, because my life has been a peculiar situation that not many people can understand. My father was black, my mom was white, and I from my situation with the mothers of my children, which my ex-wife and my baby mama is black, I was fairly lucky that my mom understood that she couldn't teach me how to be a black man at all. And living in Savannah, Georgia, I needed to understand that part of my heritage more than I needed to understand her side. Now, upon growing up, I've always been put in several situations where, okay, if I do something good, okay, black people, oh, that's your white side. No, white people would be, oh, that's your white side. Or black people be like, oh, that's your black side. But then if I do something bad or something opposing, that's that white shit. Or that's that black shit. And like it actually hurts me when like because I was in a situation where like my dad was black, my stepmom was black. My mom was white, my stepdad was white after they divorced. We found out my stepfather was racist. My mom got divorced from him within a year of us finding out he was racist. My stepmom was from Hughie, South Carolina, and she was kind of racist.
Is this you telling us your family tree? Is this leading to a conclusion?
He just won't let us know he
what is your point?
My thing is like as somebody who's mixed, like what my brother, you attracted if I'm black or what?
Brother, you're trying to ask a question.
Are you wait? Okay, so everyone, please stop coming off your mic. If you're mixed, are you confused about your lineage? Or are you confused because you're mixed?
I just get upset because people try to question my blackness because I'm only half black.
What does that do with the conversation?
Dude,
Huh?
all right,
He
bro,
just
bro.
want to let y'all know he a
Get this
tragic
nigga out the way.
mulatto. He agree with Real Queen a little
Yeah.
bit, and he was trying to,
No, no, I didn't. No, that's
sympathize,
not
brother.
what I'm
No, brother.
saying at all.
That's
All
not what
right,
Yes,
I'm
it
so
saying
is.
at
all right, so
all.
listen, I gotta move on to the next speaker because there's other people that's
I'm
been waiting.
Can
I
I ask
need to
you?
go to Derek. Derek,
Sorry.
Boy, I tell you.
yeah,
Oh,
I want-
so okay, so
You
I want
heard
to
that shit, right? You not come on the stage for
I'm
that
sorry.
hey,
Can
bullshit.
black
can
people, please.
everybody stay on their mic?
Thank you. Oh my God, I've been in so many spaces and like
Everybody
it's no.
stay. This is and this is not that type of space. Everybody just stay on your mic. I'm coming to everybody. Go ahead, Derek.
All right, sorry about that. So, first of all, I want to agree with you, Dana. We are the problem. Black people, we are our own problem. We are our own worst enemy. We are, and black people get angry about that. But you know, it's the truth. And we've come a long way, man. We've come through a lot of strong, long suffering, and a lot of fighting. And I want to address what Kanye was saying. You know, I know you're a young man, and I agree with some of the points you made. But my thing is, it's no black people begging at the table. We slaved for it. We fought for it. We marched for it. We went out in the streets and we yelled for it, and then we turned around and took it by any means necessary. And we have advanced. God has brought us a long way. And I hate to see these people in high position, these black people supposed to be representatives of us. They are, selling out, taking money, and pushing this race baiting stuff. You know, it's all about the white man this and white man. Listen, man, every black person that I know that have made it in the world, it wasn't. They fought. They grinded. They got out there. They worked hard, and they got what they wanted to get. And nobody held them back. And I'm not, has racism been a problem in this country before? Of course it has. It's gonna always be racism in this country. But racism has not held us back as a black people. And I'm sick and tired of hearing it over and over and over again. It's nothing but a crutch, just like the judge said. It's a bunch of BS. These black people, they get in, they lie, they tell us whatever they want to what we want to hear, and then they get in these positions, and then they adopt their ideals of the party that they're in, and then they sell out, and they let the people and once they sell out, now they compromise. Now they can't do the job that God put them in a position to do. And this is what that's what leads to the spiritual brokenness, because even from the spiritual level, the pastors that are leading the churches, they're doing the same thing. They're selling out for money. They now they're muzzled. Now they can't speak the truth because they get taking payments from here and there and all this type of stuff, and people control them inside of the church. And it's so crazy. And I just, we have to do better as black people. Black people get angry. Don't get angry. Be better. Don't get angry, get better at how you are inside and who you are. And I just want to ask Judge Joe Brown one question. Judge, we see this invasion, this infiltration really of this country and what they're doing, how they're using the illegal immigrants. And a lot of people don't realize how they're doing this stuff. Stuff is organized. This is a covert operation. They were giving a lot of people, I know y'all were paying attention, they were giving these people cell phones. When we had the Similac shortage, they found out they were giving them pallets of Similac at the border. And I found out why they were giving up the phones, because for a long time they were saying, well, why are they giving phones? They coming over here. Why do they need phones right away? So they were giving them phones because they had to download an app. And the app was teaching them how to go to certain checkpoints and where they need to go and get the benefits and the things that they were supposed to get. And they're letting them over here. And I feel like it is a infiltration and basically a cultural washout. And they're trying to wash us out. And I wanted to ask Judge Joe Brown, do you believe that they are actually building a militia of all of these immigrants that are going to basically do what they want them to do, which is going to be voting for them and keeping them in power and all of that? But when and if Trump gets elected, do you believe that we will be dealing with a terrorist attack within our own soil?
I can guarantee that you're going to be dealing with one of those, but I don't think what's going on is them trying to build up a militia. Actually, historically, one of the main pathways to citizenship is to volunteer to serve in the American Armed Services. You got a lot of Filipinos that became American citizens because they did that. A lot of Panamanians. It happens. That's not new. You had, for the last 50 years a thing in California where the pathway to citizenship was to become a highway patrolman or a cop somewhere in California. That's nothing. But I think the main point is these selfish bastards want to give away our resources, our tax dollars, and what they want is the vote count. Not the vote count. What they want is the population count. Now, I've been in 6 censuses where I filled it out as an adult, 6. And 2020 was the first one where they did not ask me if I was a citizen, and they did not ask me if my parents were citizens and how they got to be citizens. So what's going on is they want numbers counted and not necessarily the numbers related to the people who are supposed to be here. But the Constitution in Article 1 says every 10 years there shall be a census conducted, the primary purpose of which is to determine representation in the House of Representatives. And that's what they're trying to do, to stuff the population roll so they get more representation to support their cult. Now, I would make a suggestion to everybody. Pick one of the outfits, but one of the easiest ones to deal with is ancestrydna.com and find out what's in you. You might find a lot of relatives you didn't know you had. Might surprise you as to what they look like. But go find out what's inside of you. And I'm sure you will discover that if you are Black and you have ancestors were here, you most probably have, of course, Black. It most certainly will guarantee that a lot of that Black came from West Africa, probably somewhere in Nigeria. You will probably get a pathway coming in through the Carolinas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, to get you into the country with some migration patterns from that. You will probably find that you have some white in you. In fact, probably quite a bit. And a lot of you will find out that you've got Chinese in you, because right after the Civil War, a lot of Chinese coolies got imported to work on the Southern railways, and they didn't have any Chinese nookie, but they had lots of ex-slave nookie. And a lot of us have Native American. So find out what you are, and it might surprise you. There's probably nobody out here listening, I don't care how dark you are, who does not have some white in you. And there's nobody out here who's white who does not have some Black in them. So find out what you are, because a lot of times the DNA codes for color, but you got more something else in you than you do the color you're associating with.
Okay.
And by the way, that's just a
Brother, can I ask
political
you one
identification.
question? I just asked you.
Not right now. Because it's somebody ahead of you, the great, and then it's you. But
Okay.
I need to say this. Can Tyson, Derek, and Ricky, would you mind dropping down to listener? Because there's 2 people that want to come up, and then maybe another person. Can you guys drop down so I could bring up people that are requesting to come up? And I'm gonna go to Tupac, the great, then Re-Up. And I only see Xavier now requesting. Okay. All right. So go ahead, Tupac.
Oh, what's up,
Go
Miss
ahead.
What's up, Judge Brown?
How are you?
Yeah, another day, man. I ain't gonna be long. I just like at this point in 2024, it's just like, I mean, people waking up to the enemy, but you know, as light being shot on everything, we starting to find out that white people don't have no power, even though Jews are European. You know, they've been funding the slavery movement, Jim Crow laws. They was in power of you know, and Congress during the slavery times of quote unquote that implemented these laws that was disenfranchising Black folks. This always been a thing. It's in their protocols of the elders of Zion about pretty much that Black people are a threat. Them having us we would have been surpassed every ethnic group on this planet if it wasn't set up like this. So like working hard and all that shit, yeah, that has a a big factor. But at the end of the day, the money is still controlled by one group of people, right? So my thing is like this, dudes talking about immigration and all that shit and how they coming through. All of this shit has been planned to destroy black communities, white communities. All this shit is being done on purpose, right? By the people in power. Since you want $25 an hour, well, we about to bring these people in and get their votes or whatever, right? So my thing is like this. Niggas keep crying and like, yo, they doing this and they doing that, bro. Like Judge Joe Brown said, we can become self-reliant, go back of being Black Wall Street, because we wasn't always like this. You know what I'm saying? We had Black Power movement, we had communities. They destroyed that shit after the 70s, 80s, and then look where we at now. So we can get back to that. Like I said, I'm into the marijuana industry. I'm into growing hemp, industrial hemp. I made $4 million last year, my company. We are using hemp right now, the stalk of the plant, to make batteries for cars, for computers, for everything. So we can grow unlimited, clean, abundant energy. No more paying gas and electric bills. You know what I'm saying? It's the healthiest food on the planet. The highest source of protein is hemp food. We can build houses from the shit that's fireproof, waterproof, mold-proof, termite-proof, and don't need a heat and a cooling system. Like we have the needs, we have the resources right now to be free. We got all these black farmers in every state, but it's just going to have to put some work in. We can become self-reliant. We can have our own source of clean, free energy, not paying no more monthly payments and none of that shit. It's just up to us and when how fed up are we really? You know what I'm saying? That's my whole thing, man. We just don't know who the people who print the money. All that sound good, but white folks don't got no fucking power in white America. They selling it out to the Jewish bankers in China.
Lay off on the F word because I'm on YouTube.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But yeah, like at the end of the day, man, it's the money and all this stuff that's happening right now that's already been planned. If we can start following the money, then everything else will make sense. All that other stuff, don't. And that's time to get self-reliant. We haven't come to a conclusion of being self-governed, of governing ourselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when is we going to come back to that realization that we can grow our own source of energy, grow our own source of clean food, non-GMO, grow our own source of gasoline, because they're growing the cleanest gasoline from marijuana and hemp as well. It was made for diesel engines. The original use for diesel engine was to run on hemp. You know what I'm saying? We can make microchips, since they're saying it's a microchip shortage. The cellulose from hemp is highly conductible for electricity. They're making propane gas from hemp, which is clean propane, not flammable, not combustible, and it lasts 8 times more longer than regular gas propane. We got the needs and the means right now to be free. But how many of y'all really want to get free? Or y'all just really fake outrage and talking shit and waiting for another white devil like Donald Trump to come through and ain't gonna do nothing for y'all at the end of the day, because he don't print the money either. And I land my UFO.
Okay. The great one.
Well, I didn't know what to say after that one. Well, I would say like this, that he says, if you do not understand that Biden is the same way as Trump, then you've already lost, remember? That this is one where we're trying to win. And if you're talking about, well, guess what? Biden, he's better than Trump, or Trump is better than Biden. We're not even on that page no more. That's page been turned. I don't even know what to say to that, brother.
I'm talking about self-reliance. I don't care about none of them white devils. I said self-reliance, growing your own source of clean energy, getting off the system, bro. I don't give a fuck about them devils. My bad, Miss Dana. I don't understand what you don't get.
Okay,
I don't understand what you don't get.
So what did you do in Detroit?
On their ranks, bro. Don't do that.
What did you do in Detroit right now? What did you do in Detroit when them brothers needed water?
That was
What
Flint.
did you do?
That was Flint.
Oh, so it was planned. So you didn't have any kind of plan for that?
No, it was Flint. It was Flint, bro.
Flint.
It was
Flint.
Yeah, Flint, Michigan. We already know. So you didn't have any plan for Flint, Michigan. So you didn't have no logistic plans for Flint, Michigan.
Sir, he's saying we had to build a network to do that. I don't understand why y'all not
Yeah,
grasping some
yeah.
simple
How
concept.
do we already had the network? No, you guys are playing
So what
around.
network is it
So
now? What network do we use right now? Exactly. All right. Thank you.
wait, hold on. You didn't answer.
Wait, hold on for a second. The great one. You stayed up here. You kept going off your mic when other people were talking. Now it's your turn, and you ain't saying nothing. Like, what
Okay,
is your
do
statement and
you
what is your
really?
question? And you're
Okay,
slurring.
okay.
You're slurring. What is going
Drunk.
He
on?
always like that, Dana. You know, he always
Oh,
like that.
well, he
Hey,
didn't sound like that
Dana.
earlier. He didn't sound like that earlier.
He
He got a
drunk on
couple
No,
more
Okay.
because
women. He just
I
got a
said
couple more
What
7
women.
o'clock.
is the
Wait,
great one? Everybody, please stay on your mic. Great one. What is your statement or question? Because I have other speakers I
no,
need to get to.
okay, my bad. Well, number one, well, now you put me on the spot. I was okay. Number one, I would just ask Joshua Brown, how do we get ahead in this situation that we're in? I don't in this situation that we're in. I know that just no. See,
You do what everybody else has been doing throughout history. You do what everybody who comes over here and in one generation has their act together. You stop thinking the way you think and start thinking the way people are supposed to think, which is what is your purpose? What is your cause? What are you doing to prepare for it? You want to worry about economy? Then inspire your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, nephews, your cousins, the children of your friends to sit at the kitchen table and do their homework. So in a short time, they can get through college and get in and get an MBA and learn how to work money. You start talking about money instead of Jesus around the kitchen table. You start talking about who's doing what in business and how they did it instead of the bullshit the preacher was telling you at the last service. You stop looking at the goddamn bullshit on screen with NBA, NFL, and M, uh, MLB and start paying attention and getting the children excited about looking at how to make money, looking at science and technology. You stop looking at garbage on television with some dumb slut bitch is twerking away with a bare ass looking like she's trying to entice a hippo. And you start dealing with getting people to understand discipline, order, and respect. And we'll get somewhere.
but how do we
Now,
get this
that's how you
respect?
do it.
But
Well,
but how do we
you
get this?
impose it on yourself. You don't take shit off of anybody. Quit
Okay.
walking down the hallway like everybody knows that the bullies standing on next to their locker kicked your ass and you didn't try to fight back. Knock the shit out of somebody and then they'll give you respect. Even if they did kick your ass, at least you fought. See, that's the way you start. We don't do that. Now, oh, they have to protect your dumb ass from bullies. And they got some punk bitch running around trying to go for bad because he ain't got a dad around. And he acting like his mama and wants to put a cap out on you because, a papa cap on you because you're doing about man to man stand up. Take some martial arts. Put your nephews, your grandsons, and your boys in, or your friends' boys in, your significant others' boys in, so they can take martial arts and kick ass. It don't take long, just a few years, halfway through a car note. So, I mean, we can do these things. Start determining. Get in the habit of telling boys when you see, even if it ain't your child or grandchild, boy, act like a man. And that starts off when they're in the damn crib. Next time you go to a union picnic or a church picnic, look straight ahead and see if you can tell the boys from the girls. You can't. Little boys are
No, I
screaming
can't.
like they're little girls. Boys should be yelling, not screaming and screeching. Turn around and say, hey, and like the young man pointed out, dad say, hey, get up, walk it off. That old baby, I know you hurt yourself. Act like a goddamn man, boy. Stand up. That didn't hurt you. See, that's
Brother,
what we have to do. And when you
how would
got a
you see?
jackass coming in here talking this punk shit about you supposed to be happy because some sick son of a bitch wants his special pronouns to fuck up how the children are supposed to be taught English in school so they can communicate with English like everybody else on the damn planet Earth is doing now. Get in their ass. No, don't do that. They might like it. They call it rough trade. I get shit. But you know what I'm talking about.
All right,
How
I
would
need to
you?
go. No, not right now. No,
Can I
I
just
can't.
ask him one more question and I will
No.
hang up?
What's the
Can I ask?
question, Great One?
Can I
Come on,
ask?
come on, come on, come on.
Okay. How would you look at the black community in the next 20 years?
Fucked up.
Thank you. All right.
Because we got women running it for us, and we don't know how to stand up and take it back. And we got some jackass screwballs on the rainbow side dictating that your mama gonna keep running your damn life until you drop damn dead. Now that's what's going on. So stand up and take control. And no aspersions on the
What
system.
God, I will.
They got enough shit to deal
Everything I
with
will.
without having to run every damn thing. That's our goddamn job.
All right. So okay, Live JD. I'm gonna go to you because you were up here before and you dropped down. Come up, drop down. I don't know what was going on. Maybe you had a signal issue. And then I'm gonna go to Re-Up, Xavier, and is Ashton still up here? I don't see. No, I don't see Ashton. Wait 1 second. No, I don't see Ashton. I see Anti-Love. I'll bring you up in a second. But I'm gonna go to Live, JD, Re-Up, Xavier, and then I'm gonna swing back to Millennial Kanye, Real Queen, and then we're gonna start close, and then we'll close out because I want to end by 8. So go ahead, Live, JD.
Yeah, I just want to say, Dave Chappelle's right. Black America might save America. And Judge Brown rules. You should listen to everything he's got to say. That's all I got to say. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Re-Up, you're up.
Finally. What's up, Dana Judge? No, we're not spiritually broken. I don't believe so. I've been in the other spaces with white America and brown America, and y'all will see how they actually turn up. Yeah, they losing it. Even the Grapers, right, who like to blame the Jewish community for everything, they're losing it right now. Right, that's what I'm seeing on this app. I don't think we off that bad. Now, where the problem is our leadership and gatekeepers, right? I do believe they're like Judge Joe Brown said, right? They'll come tell us one thing, but in those back meetings, when they do have a seat at the table, Kanye, because contrary to your belief, if you don't have a seat at the table, brother, you're on the menu. Now, when you at that table, you got to be like Judge said, you got to be a man, right? You got to impose yourself, right, in what's your for communities. But to our leaders and gatekeepers, right, they're the ones who are allowing this city's fraction or that office for New Americas. That's 200 mayors and county executives that's pretty much advocate to assimilate these illegal immigrants into black cities, Democratic-led black cities, right, to integrate them into our workforce and into society, right? That's mean they're replacing us for their votes, right? For whatever reason, right? Whether it was a plan going from NAFTA, welfare reform, that disproportionately affected us, right? Now you're bringing on this immigration, this new immigration policy, a new Americans policy started in 2011 by Barack Obama, right? Our black leaders, right, who should be pushing back on that, who have a seat at the table or whatever, they're not pushing back on this, right? For us, go locally, right? What they're doing in Chicago, make up a fuss, whether it's red or blue. I think we need to get codified wherever you are, right? You be like every other ethnicity, right? And you get what's for you and yours, right? Man first. All that this shit where y'all want to be on MAGAs, whether y'all want to be straight blue, whatever benefits us, right? I don't think we're spiritually broken. I've heard a lot of wild shit up here tonight. I'm not gonna deny that, right? But I do think we should be more led by men. The Democrats more so put you black women in the front because I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I don't see none of those white men or men in general just being scared of black women like that, right? I think that's dependent upon the man to lead and to give that pushback. That's just my humble opinion. But There's a lot of shit up here. I couldn't even remember because it took so long. But yeah, I just don't know. I don't think we're spiritually broken. We're just not codified, right? We don't do what every other community. It's not like we got to re-break the wheel. I mean, if you want to go into that hemp business or you want to go into finances, do that. But be codified to uplift your own. Like when Tupac was talking, he started bringing up white people. What the fuck that got to do? Excuse me, my language. What did that have to do with the black community, right? We want to be so inclusive to our own detriment, like these black leaders, right? Who's supposed to be representing us, but they're talking about people of color or the black and brown coalition. And those people don't align with us, don't have the same interests, right? You should be in there fighting for people like Tupac to get him those contracts, right? Locally, so he can expand his business or for whatever, black people that are around you in your community. I don't see that overwhelmingly in our leadership and gatekeepers, right? But it does start locally. You start at your local municipalities and state governments, and it goes to a bigger movement. But outside of this, I don't think we is worse off as we think we are. Maybe because we sit around each other and talk about it all day. But when I'm in other spaces talking to other people, I see them crashing out way worse than we are, right? With a lack of understanding. That's why Liv JD came up here and said, "Oh, because I mean, things that they're starting to talk about now, our community has been overwhelmingly calling out for the last 60, 70 years, if not longer, right?" But that's just my humble opinion. Appreciate that, Dana.
Okay. Xavier.
All right, thank you, Dana, for allowing me to speak. I'm gonna be brief, so allow everybody else to speak. Just to answer the question, are black people spiritually broken? Uh, in certain parts of our community, yes, they are spiritually broken because you can look around. If you live in the hood anywhere in your life, or you live out in the suburbs, you don't see us there. We're not out in the suburbs. We're not in these good communities where the good schools are at teaching the kids. Because I live up there. So that question, like it says in the Bible, a house divided cannot stand. That is 100% true. A lot of black people need to go back and get to black women. Stop making hoes of the women. Go out and get you a good job. Go out and get educated. Stop walking with your pants hanging down. Stop trying to act hard and look hard when you don't even know how to fight. So for me personally, I went and got a black woman who had kids with another man. I see those individuals, those kids, I see those as future black leaders. My great 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 granddaddy, O.W. Gurley, was the founder of the Black Wall Street, and that I don't know too much about him, right? But and my father, he's an inventor. I invent. So there's some
What?
things like Judge Joe Brown says, go back and look at your history, go back and look at ancestry. Those are things that I have to do, learning my family lineage and things like that. But what's in me naturally is to actually go and take care of my people, whether it's the young black boy that's hungry, whether I'm at the mall, I go and see kids at the mall. Hey, you need some shoes? Hey, and I look at his mother, single mother. Hey, y'all need some shoes? Or what? I go and pay for. Those are things that actually create a community environment. I put my boys, my kids, step kids, whatever you want to call them, I put them in jujitsu. They're in computer science. I'm in computer science. I'm a senior network engineer. I don't see black people in IT in my field. I don't see black people in jujitsu. My brother's in finance. We don't see people like that. So all as we see is when we go through these different neighborhoods, when we in the suburbs, I don't see my own people. And it's not because those doors aren't open. It's just because we believe certain things are too hard. Go back and get the black woman. If you made your girl or whatever you want to call her, a hoe or a baby mama, go back and get her and make her a wife. Bring some money back home. Stop dividing the family. And now y'all fighting over different things that you shouldn't be fighting about when you have the outside world that we need to be worried about. So we have to regain the focus of, who the enemy is. If you want to say the white man, whoever, I don't necessarily believe, whatever. We need to worry about ourselves. And that stuff starts in the household. I don't care how much money you got. You still got all these people, all these baby mamas, and they end up broke. So we have to figure out, how do we fix what's going on in our household and not break that up. We need to also figure out, what is the mission. as a whole. You got what's going on in your family. I want to make sure my boys and my daughter, they ways right. They not messing around with a whole bunch of boys being sluts or whatever. I want to make sure my boys that they like girls, that they know what they're supposed to do, what they're supposed to look like, so they're not confused. And we do need to say, yeah, boys need to mess with girls. Oh, I'm gonna let my son make up decisions. No, he don't know what decisions to make. That's why that's why he needs a role model. But because we have a lot of African American males, they're in prison, and you leave a lot of boys out here. So the ones that are out here, the men that are out here, the real men, not the niggas, because I don't necessarily relate to them because they have a different kind of mind frame, like Judge Joe Brown. They want to watch the girl shaking the butt and all that, even though it looks good, but I don't choose to focus my mind on that solely. I like to go and pick up that young black boy who's on the road. His father may be in jail for whatever reason that he's going to make an excuse upon. I like to go and get those and bring him into my house, and I'll raise him as a black man to be another black man, so that you start creating more black men instead of niggas. I don't relate to them again. We need more black men, and that's where I see that black people are lacking and divided. They just don't know how to be men because they want to be thugs. They in the street. And again, most of them don't even know how to fight anyway. So that's all I wanted to say. I don't want to I can go on and on and on, but I just like to say to the black men that are in here, the black men that are in here, man, go and pick up a young black boy and raise him up, man. Go and raise him. They say reach one, teach one. Get a black boy and you go and raise him up to be a Martin Luther King or whatever you want. Somebody that's a doctor, somebody that's a judge, somebody that's a lawyer. Go and get that black boy and raise him up. If you got baby mamas, fix the issue with your baby mama and go and make a wife out of them so we can stop calling these women hoes and making them hoes. Because realistically, we are the men. We're supposed to be the leaders. So if something necessarily goes wrong with that household, that's on you.
You're repeating yourself.
Something that you have to take accountability for what goes on in your
sorry,
household.
can everybody stay on their mic? Like, I don't care if he repeating himself.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ms. Dana. So I just wanted to get that out because I just got that in my mind, and I see it so much, and I talk back and forth.
Niggers either. I don't like nigga bitches. I don't like
fucks with all of them.
Exactly.
I don't like.
We gotta get them.
I don't like niggas. Let me just mute everybody. I don't like niggas. I don't like mammies. I don't like nigga bitches. Mammies, nigga bitches. It is a difference, but they're all in the same. I don't like them either. And you're right. It's not, and it's not, even if you don't want to date a woman who's a single mother, but be that mentor in your community. Don't just sit back and point fingers and call somebody ignorant and stupid, blah, 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 and you ain't doing shit. Do something. If you claim to be an upstanding citizen, if you want to see a difference, if you claim to be pro-black or just pro-whatever, pro-American, it don't matter. Do something, and it starts with the youth. Every other culture, every other nationality, even the people that are crossing that Rio Grande, coming through that border, they are bringing their kids all the way up through that damn Panama jungle because they know that their child will probably be better off here freezing in a shelter than where the hell they come from in Honduras, Venezuela, wherever. You have to invest in the kids and the youth. That's the future, especially the future for Black people. Black people just don't understand that. You cannot fix a broken man, and I'm not trying to. So you're right, Xavier. I don't like niggas, nigga bitches, or mammies. Now,
you don't think that's an elitist attitude to have?
No, it's not. It's not. No, it's not. I don't want a nigga living next to me.
Because you don't think they should be reoriented?
Who is this talking? Oh, that's Rhea. No,
yeah,
I don't want your project behavior living next to me because you're the one that don't sit at the table with your kids and help them with their schoolwork. You're the one that don't take your kids to the library and teach them how to read. You know, you're the one smoking blunts, listening to the Sexy Red, thinking that it's cute that your young children, toddlers can recite it. I don't want niggas around me. No, you are non-productive. You are the ones that are descendants of the people who are still on the slave plantation. Judge Joe Brown, you mentioned to me once that you did a research and you researched that one particular housing project is direct descendant from one specific slave plantation in some state in the South. So I don't want niggas living around me because you're non-productive. It's not an elitist. That's just what it is. White people don't fuck with the white trash. They only use them when they need their body count or vote. I believe in classism. Yes. I'm not a socialist. I believe in capitalism. But I believe that it should have some type of moral basis. Whether you agree with me or not. I'm not trying to convince you to agree with me. That is my philosophy. Find yours. Okay, who is anti, honey? Okay, you drop down. Hustle, is Hustle still up here? Go ahead, Hustle.
That was me next, wasn't it?
Okay, yeah, I just want to say that I don't think that black people is broken. I think if anything, we more like sometimes weak in a sense. And I only contribute that to the legacies of like slavery and stuff like that. But no, I don't think we weak at all. I think that we need to, take care of ourselves and do a little bit better. But as far as like being spiritually broke, no, we're not spiritually broke. I just feel like in the black community a lot of our leaders, they look forward to being like entertainers and like ball players and stuff like that. They push that on us. And then also most of the people like in the black caucus and stuff like that, a lot of those people who are trying to make decisions for us, those are like Caribbean and people from different cultures and stuff like that. And I would say some of the people that's in office that are black and from slavery, they may be spiritually broke, because I even look at the mayor in New York. They found the whole tunnel in one of those synagogues, and it's like nobody hear about it no more. And if anybody in here ever worked construction before, you have to have all type of OSHA and so many people come out and just sign on it, for you to even build and put stuff together. You don't hear nothing about that in New York no more. So it's some of these people in office, they may be spiritually broke, but as the honest working man every day, no, we're not spiritually broke. We just get attacked from all sides. And even with all this immigration, and I'm gonna just keep it short and land my plane.
All right. I need to swing back to people that had their hands up before. I'm gonna go to Millennial, Kanye. I don't know if you wanted to say something real quick, or Torin, if you wanted to say something, but go ahead, Millennial, and then Kanye.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of hard to come after this, but I wanted to go back to one of the main topics we were talking about, which as far as trying to understand why.
Oh, and then let this be your final remarks because we're about to be closing out.
Okay, I'll make it quick. I just wanted to go back to the topic of the illegal immigration and why it seems like they're flooding our communities with these illegal immigrants. And I have to reference one of the things that one of our great scholars, Dr. Claude Anderson, talked about. He's been telling us this since the '90s, that the goal within this country was to make the black community the permanent underclass. And he brought up the fact that this was going to occur in the earlier 2010s. I think specifically he said 2013. I've read several of his books. And, he was 10 years off, but we see it happening right in front of us. One of the other things that he mentioned was, you have to look at it. Black people have been pimped and hustled for the last 400 years. The last thing that the dominant society, they're not gonna bring migrants and illegal immigrants into their communities to pimp and hustle their people, because they're comfortable being non-competitive. If you really look at their community, they don't have to compete because they got a 400-year head start. So why would they drop those people off in their communities for them to have to compete among themselves? That's why they put them among who we are, which they view us as the consumer class. If you go into the black community right now, there's a reason why Asians, Arabs, and even those in the dominant society set up shop and be prosperous in the black community, because for the most part, we are solely spending money. Now, I'm not going to say that there's not black businesses that exist and flourish within the black community. There are, but again, they're few and far between. For the most part, they set those groups around us because we are viewed as the non-builders, as the primary, only as consumers. So they'll slap them on top of us, continue to bury us down, And that's how you drive the money, continuously drive the money out of the Black community. Anytime the Black community starts to become prosperous and begin to look like it's making progress, we continue to get flooded. And we have to be aware of these things and learn how to work around them. The first step of doing that, which going back to Dr. Claude Anderson, he laid out some of the solutions and the steps on how to do this. We gotta work with each other. We gotta shop with each other. Which, going back to what some of the other earlier speakers talked about with the politicians who get into office and then they actually work against us. That goes back to meritorious manumissions, which you talked about it as well, which if you study how that worked against us, it'll all make sense how they'll speak the talk, they'll do the walk, they'll get in, and then it seems like they're working against us the minute they get in. There's a reason behind that. Once you gain power, you want to maintain that power, and maintaining that power isn't at the behest of doing that blackety black talk. That doesn't work, which there's some of the things that Real Queen spoke of that she was actually factual about. Running on a black only agenda just doesn't work in this society. Sometimes we just have to, it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's factual. Because if you get in there and you run on that, it's going to backfire on you. They're going to pull a Kwame. Kwame did some stuff that I don't even want to go into that. But there's several.
Are you talking about for a politician running for office?
Yes. So once you get in there, if you start doing stuff,
Are you talking about on a local or national?
Local. So you look at the local level. So
But what if 70% plus of your constituents are Black?
Well, let's look at what happened in Detroit with outside of the shicey stuff that Kwame Kilpatrick was doing, and then let's look at what's the Black mayor in D.C. They set him up with the cocaine and the hookers. He was opening up doors for Black folks, and they got him up out of there. You can get up in there, but if you start doing that Black only agenda.
Oh, wait. Question. Why was he fucking around with hookers and cocaine?
Again, hey, look, they got eyes on you. He should.
Why was the one running for governor down in Florida passed out with a white boy's dick in his butt down in the hotel room?
You're right. And what I'm saying is,
why is Fannie in Georgia talking about it ain't fair not to give a Black woman another chance just because she made a mistake?
Right. No, and I agree with that. And so that's where I was going with it.
Okay. All right.
The power, it corrupts them, and then it gets them up out of there. So they try to stick to that position.
Shut up, stupid.
Go ahead. Who's that? Go ahead.
Don't even go there.
Go ahead. I'm willing to hear. I'm open for objection, because at the end,
we gotta have manners. Men don't do that shit. You sound like a
he was a troll. Exactly, and he was a bitch ass
like
troll.
A damn bitch.
That was a troll. That was a troll.
Oh, okay.
And
well,
furthermore,
troll, get your punk ass out of here. There are men and women present.
And please, I don't want anybody requesting to come in. I'm not taking any more requests. I'm gonna finish up with people that are here.
I want to ask the speaker a question.
And Kanye, I don't know what happened to Kanye. If Kanye could come back up so he could say something as well, request, and that's it.
I can ask you generally. How long have the Japanese been here? How long have Black Americans been here? How long have the Italians been here? How long have the Black Americans been here? How long have the Irish been here? How long have the Black Americans been here? How do you have a place where 25 years ago you had some illegals and then you didn't have illegals, some got in, and then now they own gas stations, tire shops, fast food places, and Black folk been there the whole damn time and still in the same circumstances? What is it that holds us back? Is it the system, or is it something about our culture?
The lack of implementation within our culture, and that's what I was getting at. Is it makes it easy for these groups to come into our community or be dumped off into our community to pimp and hustle us? Because if those things don't exist in our community, that means we have to build them. And in order to keep us in a state of non-building, in a state of perpetual consumption, there needs to be a building class that they're going to keep dropping on top of us to keep us down where they want us. Going back to what I said in the beginning, the plan has always been to keep us as the permanent underclass, and this is just another new leg of that. Just like in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, when we start seeing the Koreans and the Asians come in, opening up the gas stations, opening up all the different shops, because we were starting to do that. They come in and suppress us with the better pricing, This is just another new wave of that. And it's up for us to actually see it for what it is and not let us as a group let that let that stop us as a group from continue to build and project upward. And I'll land my plane there.
Let me ask another question to the audience generally. You can reply, anybody can reply. One man said the problem with the 20th century will be the color line. The way to solve that is for the talented 10th of that race to bootstrap themselves up. Somebody at the same time said, we don't need to aspire. Just pick up the mop, pick up the pail, and do the best you can where you are. Now, which one do you think is now held to be the hero and which one is held to be the villain? And maybe that says something about our current state of affairs.
I
Which
love that
one is the
question.
hero?
We
Which
followed the
one is
talent
the hero?
that sent us into the burning house.
No. Answer his question. That the two examples he gave you, he wants you to pick one.
That's what I did. The one that told us to pick a leader and run with that is the wrong one. We picked the wrong one.
No. Wasn't one
Oh,
of
did
your
you think
options?
so? Well, okay.
What was the
I know
option?
what he
Wasn't the
picked.
option pull yourself up out a bootstrap?
Yeah,
Oh,
he picked that. He said that's the problem.
Oh, okay. That's the
oh,
problem? Okay.
okay. So then that is the collective problem. That's not possible when you're 400 years behind. That's not possible. I understand your question. Now go ahead.
So then you're saying that the one with the mop and a bucket is the solution?
No,
And start where you're at? I don't.
No, that's not the solution. You'll always be behind if that's where you're starting.
Well, I mean, I said there are two people. Which one is the hero now and which one's the villain? Is the one the villain who said the problem with the 20th century will be the color line? The way to address the color line is for the talented 10th of that race to bootstrap the race up? Or is it the one that said, don't aspire, just pick up the mop, pick up the pail, be happy where you are, and do a good job? Is that the hero, or is the first one the hero? Which one?
Mop and bucket. The one
The mop and a bucket?
that fails.
That's the
one that
Who
fails.
said that? That's the hero. Who said that, by the way?
Me. Both of us, I think. Yeah, that's the hero.
That's
because
Booker
if you
T.
look at it,
Washington said that. And
Yeah.
the first one is W.E.B. Du Bois. Now, may I point something out? We thought Booker T. Washington was a scumbag in the 60s, and W.E.B. Du Bois was the hero. Now the roles have flipped.
Yeah, but are you saying that Booker T is as in 2024 we should go by what Booker T is saying? What's saying? Pick up the box.
Here, we used to say this. Every city in America has a Booker T. Washington High School. This was in the 60s that has been in existence since the turn of this century. Why do you think racist white America named those schools after Booker T. Washington? And that
because he was subservient.
That's it. And that's what we said is the answer to the question. And as so long as the black man looks at Booker T. Washington, the hero, it is displaying a mindset that explains and assists the structure of power, keeping us in a subservient position.
Which means Booker T. Washington philosophy of picking up the bucket and starting where you're at is not what we need today in 2024. So he will be considered the stop getting off. Can everybody stay the fuck on your mic? And I was trying to go through the space without cursing.
Okay.
I don't need the peanut gallery. I'm trying to flesh something out.
Go ahead.
So your question is, who's the enemy and who is the hero in 2024? In 2024, when we're talking about Black America, W.E.B. Du Bois should be the hero.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, in other words, the point is one of the problems we have today as a people, and as to why we are so paralyzed, is we have been conditioned over the last 50 years with mainstream and social media propaganda, print media, to think that Booker T. Washington is the hero and we should emulate him instead of W.E.B. Du Bois. Now, a lot of people talk about they want to go to Africa. W.E.B. Du Bois denounced his citizenship and moved back to Africa. So
Well, he was old when he did it.
that doesn't make any difference. He wasn't as old as I am now. So bottom line is
Wait. I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish because I want to say something to that.
All I'm saying is everybody's entitled to their opinion. I'm just saying sometimes the opinion you have reflects a state of mind or a worldview.
Okay.
And sometimes the reason I brought that up was to illustrate a point. We have to pay careful attention to subtle but insidious stuff like our worldviews of things, because those worldviews are subconscious in their effects, and they may have a great deal to do with how we approach and view things. That's my point. Now, anybody?
And you're 1,000%. I'm going to unmute because to your point, real quick, Judge. Insidious things that people do on Twitter. You jump off your mic to just throw in 2 words. We stop that. First of all, that's a pet peeve of mine. Second of all, that's rude. And third of all, that's childish. So just stay on your mics. I'm gonna get to you. We don't need a peanut gallery. But I love that example how you laid it out. Real Queen and then Torin. You want to say something, Real Queen?
Okay, hold on. I'm here. Okay, you can hear me good.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to say this. I'm sick of all the tropes like, woe's me, gosh, we don't have unity. It's all bullshit. Like saying, all the racist laws disenfranchise Black folks. How many years has it been since that actually happened? Terry stops have been abolished. Jim Crow South no longer exists. The Black codes are off the books. Stop making excuses and man up. Do the work. Pick up the mop. Get busy. Be the change you want to see. All this stuff about, well, how do we get there? How do we get a system? It's just excuses and bullshit and cop-outs in my view. So we got to get to work as a people, producing, building, a lot less consuming and consumption, okay, and chasing bullshit versus tangibles. That's how I see it. And I'll yield the mic.
All right. And Torin, you're going to be the last speaker because I like to do 3-hour spaces unless the judge want to do a marathon, but that ain't happening tonight.
Is it possible I can say one more thing, though? I did hear a brother come up and say, oh, the white devils. And I was like, really? Nobody's going to call them on it? But the instant I say some Blacks can't read, everybody gangs up on me. I don't know how I feel about that double standard, but I do have white in my blood, in my family. I'm biracial. Okay, and that's hurtful to me to hear that. Not every white person is a devil. Let's stop with all the crap and the tropes and the ridiculousness that has nothing to do with building or saving the people. Also, I should say really quick, waiting on a savior is how you get pimped. Okay, you get hustled and used. The moment you learn, I'm all I need, build with like minds, quit worrying about the lost, deaf, dumb, and blind, and then they will follow when they see the results. The NOI did that. They didn't force people to join the mosques and the temples. They followed when they saw the progression of the people. The problem is all this stuff about, well, we need a system. How do we get there? I don't know. Woe's me. And, we got to save the little Black boy. No. Build with like minds. You're going to get more done. And I yield the time.
Yeah. And let me just say one thing to that. I swear to God, if you get off your fucking mic one more goddamn time, nobody is not going to speak after me. The only person that's going to speak is Torin as far as speakers, because I have to close out. But just real quick, real queen, full-blooded white people don't give a shit if a black person say you devil. Only you mixed people care, but white people don't care if black people call them names. Trust me, they don't. They really don't. You should hear what white people call other white people in Twitter spaces. Yeah. So, and that one person who said devil, they weren't saying probably wasn't saying all white people. Probably wasn't talking about your people. But full-blooded white people don't give a shit what black people say. Newsflash. But Torin, you're the last speaker, and then Judge is going to close out this space. Go ahead.
Real lively conversation. Some of it was some hard conversation, but a lot of it was necessary. I just want to say one thing. Nobody is coming to save black people but us. Nobody gives a damn about what black people go through except black people who care about us. That's just the bottom line. And in my opinion, the way to get moving on making some real progress on people who care about us getting us some progression is we got to clear out all these gatekeepers, whether it's the Congressional Black Caucus, whether it's people who are in media, whether it's people who consider themselves to be our spokespeople who've not been appointed by any damn body. Until you get those people out of the paint and you get people who really are focused on the progression of black people in spaces, whether it's politically, whether it's economically, whether it's in media, all we're going to be doing is circling this conversation for the next 10 to 15 years while everybody else advances. We got to get these people out of the paint, and then we got to start lifting up people who really have our best interest at heart and hold those people accountable when they don't live up to the expectations we want them to have. That's the only way it's going to work. That's what every other ethnic group does. Everybody does that. Jewish people do that. Hispanic people do that. Asian people damn sure do that. White people don't do it as much, but there is a consequence for screwing them over. So I'm saying we got to get like that. We got to stop trying to hug every damn body and focus on our own people, and then we can build. And I'll land.
All right. So before you close out, Judge, I would like to say in the Jumbotron, his link to his barbecue sauce is in the Jumbotron. Go to jjbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown barbecue sauce, or go to Amazon and just type in Judge Joe Brown barbecue sauce. It's delicious. It's great. Go get it. Every Tuesday, and I have the time now, every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to go for 3 hours. Maybe one day, can you mute up, Judge? Maybe one day soon we'll do a marathon, but I'm not sitting up here for no 4, 5, 6, 8 hours all day. 3 hours is good to flush out the different topics and to have people come up and speak. And so I do want to, everybody that came up here, thank you to all the speakers. Much respect. Everybody listening, please share out the space. Please follow Judge Joe Brown. Most importantly, go buy his barbecue sauce. I want to say thank you to everybody on YouTube for watching, well, technically listening. Appreciate you guys. Please share the YouTube video as well. You could go to therealdananetwork.com and sign up to the website, because Judge Joe Brown is live every Thursday on the website, uncensored. And yeah, so you can find him there, therealdananetwork.com. So with that said, Judge, close out the space.
I'm going to do this by posing a question to everybody as a homework assignment. Now, there's nothing wrong with Jews. There's nothing wrong with white people. There's nothing wrong with gay people. But look up the Black Congressional Caucus. Look at the pictures, and then look up the Liberty Caucus, Congressional Liberty Caucus. That's the LGBTQIA caucus, and see if there isn't almost a total lap over in membership. Now, they've been hiding this since I've been pointing it out, but if you dig deep enough, you can find it. Find out who the chairman of the Black Caucus's Reparations Committee is, and find out why his name is Steve Cohen, a gay white Jew guy from Memphis, Tennessee. Now, that's a homework assignment. You elect people who are supposed to represent your interest. You elect a bunch of them, a totally sufficient number to actually do something, and nothing is done. And see if that doesn't somewhat supply an answer as to why not. and think about it for the next time. Now, with that, Happy New Year to everybody. If you haven't heard me tell you that before, and it's been good having you here. I enjoyed the discussion tonight. Now, have a great day tomorrow.